Yeah, what's up, man? What's going on? I'm gonna get started here shortly. I'm just getting things a little, getting things set up, basically. But how are you doing today? How's things going with you? Those that are watching, welcome in. Glad to have you guys coming in. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all this magenta. That's just not doing so well. Welcome in. Looks like there's a little bit of latency on my camera. Yeah, I may just go without camera today. Hopefully, you guys don't mind that I don't use the camera today because it's like there's like bad latency. You'll hear audio and then just like no lip saying catching up with it. So I just figured, you know what, I'll just do it without camera. Because I definitely want to talk about all this stuff that's going on regarding Metro by T-Mobile, regarding T-Mobile price hikes, and while some will disagree with me about Metro by T-Mobile for whatever reason, whether they're a huge fan of it and they just don't want to, acknowledge the next level of what I call fuckery happening. And it's cool. I mean, like, I'm not trying to tell anybody not to be with Metro by T-Mobile anymore or to ditch T-Mobile. Like, that's at everyone's, choice, discretion, what they choose to do. That's entirely up to them. So, but I do have to get into that because I want to make sure that people know exactly what's going on. Yeah, so I'll get the screen pulled up here in a little bit. But as you're coming in, feel free to say hello, say what's up, how's things going. Yeah. I guess what we'll just initially just kind of go with. We'll start off with T-Mobile. Let's do that one. Definitely want to talk about this. All right, so for those who want to know, T-Mobile price increase rates are going up on some older plans, starting with your next bill. So this is from cnet.com. So I will grab the article link and I will post it in the chat for those that want to go and just at their leisure. But I'm going to go over anyways. So let's take a look at this. So those on older plans can expect a $2 or $5 per line increase, with notifications to affected customers having gone out on Wednesday. So T-Mobile basically sent out those lovely text messages that let you know, like, hey, your plans, the lines on your plans are going to increase. And a lot of people are talking about this, because before I continue on with what to expect with T-Mobile, when T-Mobile and Sprint merged, that was one of the things that they definitely talked about. I remember that much of it. Oh, looks like I have someone that may want to join in. So hang on. Let me... The stream might get a little glitchy here. So just give me 1 second. Actually, I forgot Opera has this pretty much. I like Opera browser. I don't know about you guys, but I like Opera browser. Okay, let's see. How do I do this? Why does it have it like this? I still got to figure out some of the stuff with Opera browser, but okay, never mind. Um, I will just send a link. I have a guest that's coming on, so this is going to be interesting. Okay. Bear with me for a little bit. I have someone that's going to come on, and I'm sure that she wants to know what's going on with all this. So, okay. Give me the thumbs up if you're ready. Got you on. Can you hear me? One second, everybody. Are you able to hear me now? Hey, sis, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me now? I got you on the live. Okay, let me stop screen sharing real quick. Okay, are you able to hear me? Grabbing your MacBook, going in.
Okay, wow.
I can hear you.
Cannot hear.
Okay, you cannot hear. I can hear you. You can't hear me.
Cannot hear you.
Okay, check the chat. Okay, so she's switching to her MacBook. Give it a minute. I appreciate you guys being patient. Sorry about that. Let me get to the chat while I wait for her. Bobby, what's going on, man? Welcome in. Sounds from a horror flick. That was her AC. Like in Hawaii, the house that she has, they have they don't have like the central heat and air type of AC. They have one of those individual ones. Oh, it looks like the video latency cleared up. Check this out. Gene, what's up? Oh, on the Facebook side, it shows comments now. We do the chat overlay. Let me see if I can get her in here. Why does it do that on here? Sorry. That was like a last minute thing, but it's kind of cool to, I guess, have my sister jump on this tech live stream because she is a T-Mobile customer. So we're gonna get her reaction to when she finds out what's gonna happen with her plan. I can't type for shit today. Okay. Let me get to the chats. But how's everybody doing? Gene, welcome in. Sorry about that. Everyone, patience. I'm waiting for my sister. She's gonna sign in on her MacBook. She's gonna jump in. So you guys are gonna get a T-Mobile customer's like live reaction. All right, let me get her back on. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, technical difficulties there, but all right. So then that way that you're not walking in the dark. I haven't really gone over the articles with that I'm pulling the information from, but basically in general, because I know you're a T-Mobile customer and you have multiple lines on T-Mobile. T-Mobile's under the gun right now, literally, just because their whole thing when they, guaranteed or they were promising that with the merger with Sprint, prices were not going to increase. Well, as of lately, the lie detector test determined that was a lie because they are raising prices. Yeah.
No.
But they're also raising prices on legacy plans too. So everybody's being affected by this price increase. And this also kind of correlates with their prepaid Metro by T-Mobile with their flex plans, which I'm going to go over that too, as you know, that's a nice way to lock people in to stay on Metro. But I was going to pull stuff off CNET, and then I'm going to ask you how you feel about what you're hearing regarding, because this really impacts you and your family. All of you guys are on T-Mobile.
Okay.
Yeah. So, just FYI for everybody else, my sister's not a techie like that. So don't hit her up trying to ask her like how much memory should you put in your gaming PC build. She's not gonna tell you that. But if you guys want to know how to start a business, she can answer some questions on that. I'll put you out there. Anyways, so I'm not going to screen share it, but I did put a link in the chat for people to just kind of go to the webpage themselves if they want to read it. But I'm just going to pull from cnet.com. So basically, as the title implies, they're going to raise their plans. It says here that those on older plans can expect a $2 to $5 increase per line. With the notifications for those were sent out on Wednesday. So there's customers that's still getting their text letting them know that their plan is going to increase by $2 to $5 per line, depending on what legacy plan that you're on. And there's a quick synopsis. T-Mobile has avoided rate hikes for older plans for the last few years, but that's now set to change. In a memo sent to employees that was obtained by CNET, the company says it was sending out notifications on Wednesday to some customers whose charges will increase starting with their June or July bills. And the memo was sent out by John Fryer, president of T-Mobile's consumer group. The note doesn't list which plans are affected, but Fryer specifically says that those on the carrier's latest assortment of Go 5G plans will not see their prices increase. The same goes for the millions of customers who are covered by T-Mobile's price lock guarantee, which he says will continue to be in effect for those people. Fryer says in a memo that T-Mobile is raising prices on older plans for the first time in nearly a decade, and that the increases are designed to keep up with the rising inflation costs. How do you feel about that?
Well, the interesting thing is I understand it's, I know people are probably expecting that's outrageous,
Yeah.
However, you know what? I'm a business person myself, so I
Yeah.
definitely understand, overhead expenses and inflation. You know what I mean? I live in Hawaii, folks, and I live in one of the most expensive states, anyways. So, I think it's almost as if, as a whole, as a population, we're already conditioned to everything rising quickly. You remember when we were kids, for example, the bus was like 25 cents for a child,
Yeah.
50 cents for adult, right? And that
Yeah.
was in 1995. Whereas today you're paying like $5 and you get like a certain time period of transferring. I don't know exactly how the bus runs and operates, their sales today, because I don't ride the bus, I drive. However, I will say I remember back in my teenage years, gas was 90 cents a gallon. Today, like in my state, I go to Shell and I get, I have perks over there and stuff like that. But normal gas prices here are anywhere between $4.50 something cents to like 4.70. I've seen 4.90. So on the outer islands. So I'm not a stranger to rising prices. I'm very acquainted with that. It happens all the damn time in Hawaii. However, yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, prices weren't raised for me in a long time. I'm in an old grandfathered plan. I believe it's called North America something something something. I have to really read it. But it is one of the prehistoric plans from over 10 years ago. I've been with
Yeah.
T-Mobile for about 15 years, at a small stint with Sprint and Nextel and Boost and stuff like that for like maybe a year or two. So even before that 15-year stint that I've been with T-Mobile, I was with T-Mobile before. So for me, I guess I'm not surprised. And I think, it'd be silly for me to be really outraged by it. They do have to, they have a lot of overhead expenses and infrastructure to keep. And with technology moving forward, more and more and new types of networks and, they're trying to be faster. They're competing with AT&T and Verizon over here. So, I mean, I don't blame them, really. I don't. Do I like it as a customer? Of course not. Nobody wants to pay more, for their plans and stuff like that. And, when you're an older customer like myself, a longtime customer, you're like, that's crazy. Why aren't you taking care of me? I've been with you. I've given you money over, a longevity, specified amount of time. But they still have to build and they still have to, get better and better and better. However, I will say T-Mobile is not always the best. I still have places where I don't have good connectivity, but in fairness, I do live in the country too. I don't live in the city. So of course the towers are going to be far and few. As you saw when you came here, you saw what types of towers we have here, in my area. So no, I'm not outraged by it. I'm not gonna, go crazy and boycott T-Mobile or anything. I understand, I do.
Yeah. Okay, so let me get your perspective on this, okay? And I think this is one of the reasons why some people would be upset with this, because like the points that you made from a business standpoint, which is why I'm glad I have you here, because you're not a techie and you're not a nerd. So you're not looking at it from that perspective. You're looking at it just from a consumer and a business perspective. So I'm going to get your thoughts on this. Would you say that, with all the overheads, all the expenses that T-Mobile would have to, of course, put into building out their network, would you think that it would have been a wrong thing for them to say when acquiring Sprint that the merger would lower costs for customers, it would keep jobs and make more jobs? Because those two things for me are the things that I look at most, because since the acquisition of Sprint, I've seen stores close. Like Metro by T-Mobile stores are closing a lot. T-Mobile stores are closing also as well, where employees are going out of a job. So to me, it's just like when you say, yeah, we want to take Sprint, we want to merge them with us. This is going to create more jobs. You're doing the exact opposite. You're losing jobs. You're giving up your employees to save on cost or whatever the reasons might be behind it. And then you're telling them that this is going to be great for competition. Prices are not going to increase, but then prices increase. So on those two fronts, would you say that T-Mobile was actually wrong for even throwing that statement out there if they had no guarantees that they would keep their prices lower and that they couldn't create more jobs, but in fact, had to cut employees?
Okay, so first of all, what I need to know is when did they make that statement?
In court.
What year? When?
In court when they acquired Sprint. So before, like, the Sprint acquisition wasn't smooth. It wasn't like Sprint sold to them and they connected. There were actually states that were trying to block it. And so they had to go to court. So both, at the time, the CEO, John Ledger, who was the CEO of T-Mobile, he's no longer. We miss him, sort of. And then Marcelo Clare, how do you pronounce his name? He was CEO of Sprint. So they actually stood in court together and made that claim.
Can you tell me what year that was?
Oh shit, that was a while back. Hold on, let me Google because I don't remember. Unless someone in the chat knows, post it in the chat. It was like 2017.
Okay, 2017. Are we talking 7 years ago?
Or a little bit sooner than that. Hold on, I got it. Let me see here. Yeah. So that was back in 2018.
Okay, so this is about what? Okay, so this is 6 years ago. Okay.
2018 to 2020. Sorry. So it started in 2018. That's when they tried to do it, and then it was blocked by several states. And but that was all done by April of 2020.
The interesting thing is when mergers and stuff happen, there are contracts that are drafted up, and unless we have a contract where I can like peruse and go through that, because contracts, it's a funny thing. Sometimes contracts have certain time limits on things. Like if I put a guarantee on something or a warranty on something, right? It's not an indefinite warranty. A lot of times there's an expiration date on that. So whatever T-Mobile said in 2018, 2019, 2020, up until they got that, the acquisition was approved. I really can't, I can't say. I would have to have a contract that tells me. Now, is it fair? Like if you're asking me on layman's terms, is it fair? As just a layman person, yeah, I would probably say, yeah, that's not fair to say something like that and, make a promise and then break it. But I would have to see what the contract really looks like. Also, remember, in 2020, the economy changed, Bobby. Okay, so let me share with you what I'm seeing as a trend today. I go on Indeed and I go look for jobs. At one time, I was, kind of stir crazy at home, a little bored, and I was thinking maybe I'll go find me a little part-time job to get me out of the house for a little while, right? Not so much for a necessity, but just to get out of the house and just do something, Do you know how many damn jobs there were on Indeed and how many people that are looking for jobs right now? Look at the ratio is different. There's a lot of jobs available. There's no reason why people cannot be working. There's plenty of jobs. But the thing is because of what happened during COVID, because people became so reliant on, government, and I don't want to continue on that tangent, but I'm just sharing that today's trend.
Speak freely. Speak freely. There's no bounds on my head.
But today's trend is different. Well, I just don't want to veer off on a whole different tangent, and we're here for 3 hours not talking about your topic. So
I don't care.
The economy and the job market look super different. Everything looks
Right.
different. So promises that T-Mobile may have made, and then even more so, I actually want you to tell me when they made this promise. Was it before or after America was affected by COVID? Because COVID was announced in what, March of 2020? Was this in January or February, or was this after
So
March?
the promises were made throughout the entire hearing to get the. So it's not like one pinpointed date. Yes, they started saying that in 2018
Yeah,
when they were doing the merger. That was their biggest pitch. Was
right,
this will create more jobs, and this will we'll be able to keep prices low. Because at the
right,
same time too, the deal really couldn't go through unless Dish became the fourth carrier, because Dish had spectrum that they purchased, right? When they have these auctions for spectrum, these licenses that they get, basically Dish had some, so they had to use it. It was either use it or lose it. So Dish
okay.
agreed to become the fourth carrier, which is why Boost Infinite, now soon to become Boost Mobile, which is a whole total fucking different conversation. That's why they exist. They exist on that premise. And at the same time, while Dish is building out their network, there had to be an agreement where T-Mobile would host Boost Mobile customers for a while. Then Boost made a deal with AT&T for network access with them. So now they use AT&T, their own native network, and T-Mobile's network. So this was all part of the deal of them allowing Sprint to basically merge into T-Mobile. So that was one of the things that they talked about, like how it would create better competition for consumers to be able to get the best rates, and it was all about making more jobs. That was the big emphasis for the entirety of it, was just that, which a lot of people kind of hung on that because that's what they were expecting. And T-Mobile's track record lately, because this is not the only instance of why this is brought up. I mean, some of my friends have been tracking what T-Mobile does and comparing what they say to what really happens, and it just
It's funny,
tarnishing.
Bobby. Well, you know what? Like I say, at a consumer standpoint, I would think that it would be unfair,
Right.
and that statement would be an unfair statement. However, like I said, as a business person and understanding how business works is,
Mm-hmm.
the climate's not the same, so they can't keep those promises. Plus, two, this is irrelevant to the subject matter itself, but just to kind of help you guys understand. So Hawaii right now has so many jobs available, but not enough people to apply and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, there's a restaurant that's opening up in a couple of days, and the owner of the restaurant is short 50 staff. He does have other restaurant chains. So this restaurant he's opening is fine dining. It's a Wagyu restaurant. It's like, and y'all know Wagyu is expensive,
Yeah.
like 100 something a pound for a pound of Wagyu steak or beef. But he's about to open a couple of days. He's gonna pull workers from his I guess I don't want to call it his mediocre restaurant, but his lower price restaurant. It's called Hot Pot Shabu Shabu. And so he's pulling workers there to help him with his grand opening and whatnot, which I think is set to either happen June 1st or June 3rd. I forgot exactly which date. Okay, so the thing is one of his challenges is he puts his ads out on Indeed. He doesn't have many people applying for the job. You know what I mean? And you
Now,
would think in Hawaii, as expensive as it is, people want to have jobs. But with COVID happening, we're conditioned differently. People are more on assistance.
that was going
And
to be my question, was that, is there not enough people applying because there's not enough people to work jobs, or is there not enough people applying because people have become spoiled to all the handouts that they don't want to work?
well, that's one of them. I don't want to, broad generalize everybody and put them all in the same box. That's part of it. The other part too, Bobby, is people are now moving towards working for themselves. COVID taught some people how to be, entrepreneurs. You have influencers all over damn YouTube. You're like one of them, So people are moving away from 9 to 5s because it doesn't fit them anymore. When COVID happened, we learned how to work remote. Businesses learned how to function more remotely. So there's a lot more remote jobs out there, available. And those are being snagged up because people now are starting to realize they'd rather be at home and work because at least they can babysit their kids and work at the same time.
Right.
So the way I think of all of this, that's happening with T-Mobile, the cutting of employees. Maybe not all employees were cut. Maybe some
No,
of
not
them.
all employees were cut. Just some
Yeah.
stores were shut down. Mostly the ones that were mostly impacted was Metro by T-Mobile, which I'll get into a little bit later
So
because I'm
to
going to
keep
talk
a
about them.
store open, there's a lot of overhead because you gotta pay, you gotta lease it, and you gotta insure that lease too. You cannot just pay your rent and be like, oh yeah, I've got a store. You gotta have some type of insurance too. So there's many overhead costs to running and maintaining a brick and mortar. That's why
Yeah.
my business is consultation. I consult. I don't need a brick and mortar to do, consultations to help businesses. That's why. So my husband and I, we don't have an office. Our office is our home office. We just, designate part of our space, write it off. Our company pays us. So that's kind of where things are moving to now. They're trying to lower their overhead costs as much as possible. And, like Walmart. Walmart is self-checkout. Most Walmarts here in Hawaii is self-checkout. And you only get I don't even want to call them cashiers anymore. You just have representatives there to watch you scan your stuff and go.
I got
right?
a bone to pick with that because honestly, I'm missing like 163 paychecks from Walmart. Because if I'm going to go check my own shit out, they better be paying me to do their work while I'm scanning my own stuff and putting it into a bag. Like what? That's besides the point. But going back, what you said earlier when you were asking about did they have a contract and how long did so here's a bit of information here for you.
Okay.
And it's funny how you said what you said because it really correlates into this. So it says as part of its merger with Sprint, which was completed in 2020, T-Mobile was legally required to not raise prices for 3 years. We're beyond that point.
Yeah, this is for year 4.
That period ended last year, and the carrier since introduced its Go 5G assortment of plans, which is Go 5G, Go 5G Plus, and Go 5G Next. These plans have some new features, but they're also pricier than T-Mobile's earlier offerings. And the carrier still allows new customers to sign up for older or cheaper plans like Magenta, Magenta Max, and Essentials. But some of these plans, namely the Magentas, are buried on its website, and you'll have to call in or chat with T-Mobile to support if they want to sign up. So that's kind of like any business, right? In any business, they're going to want to put their most expensive plan forward because that's what a business is made to do, is made to make money. And even if it seems like a sleazeball tactic, but when have we ever really trusted businesses to be upfront? Like car salesmen, they're not going to come up front and tell you like when you're buying a car, like, oh yeah, this is the greatest model that we have. This is our price. Basically, it's fully loaded. This is not the base model. You got the GPS and all this shit inside of it. But they're not going to tell you after you do the paperwork that you can actually go to your own bank and finance through your bank and set that up, which you'll have a lower interest rate than going through the dealership. Which I'll tell anyone, if you're going to buy a car from a dealership, don't do the financing from the dealership. The freaking what is it? Not the what is it called? Brain farted. It was in my head and then it went away. The interest amounts are crazy ridiculous through any of the financial institutions that a dealership uses. So your best bet is to go through your bank. You'll get a better rate in interest financing through your bank. You can do it. It's possible. Your bank would actually be the lien on the title because they would buy the car from the dealership and you would owe the bank directly. Just side thing right there for anybody that wants to know. But yeah, so they did fulfill their obligation contract wise. They did 3 years of no price increases. 2023 was when that ended.
Exactly. And so, so I guess, they did keep their word as far as that part of the contract was. But again, with the promises of keeping employees and keeping stores and stuff like that, I mean, it's hard because, you know what, like I explained earlier about, new businesses that are having hard time with, receiving applicants. Between the time of COVID till now, lots of stores and Restaurants that have been here for 50 years plus, they've closed down. They've shut down. The Wailana Coffee House in Waikiki, that thing's been around for 60 years. It closed down. I think it was in 2021. It couldn't maintain anymore. And again, I said society is starting to shift too, you know. For example, here in Hawaii, you have a lot more like, okay, so we had an Applebee's for maybe like 5 or 6 months. Applebee's grand opening, Applebee's grand closing. What opened in its place is this restaurant called Gen's, Gen. It is a Korean restaurant where you kind of cook your own meats, kind of like the hot pot, shabu shabu. Those are places, those are restaurants where you go, you select your meats, you cook your meats. I'm saying the society is shifting into something different. Back then, we wanted everything fully cooked and prepared for us. Nowadays, we're cooking our own, we're paying a restaurant to cook our own shit, you know, in the restaurant. Society is shifting and changing, and brick and mortar is becoming obsolete because it's expensive. Well, people are raising prices on rent. That's expensive.
Well, to kind of piggyback on that brick and mortar thing, I mean, we already know that it works to not, you know, have a store. I mean, that was one of the biggest complaints with a company called Visible, which is a prepaid company that's owned by Verizon. And as you know, honestly, like they are right now currently the top prepaid provider because they only have 2 plans. It's $25 and $45. $25, unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data, and like actually true unlimited data. There's no cutoff point. There's no like high speed and then you're slowed down. You're only slowed down during congestion. So like if you're at like a concert, you know, football game, you may experience some slow speeds just because Verizon postpaid customers are obviously going to have priority to the network over you. But other than that, I mean, you have hotspot and there's not a limited amount of hotspot. So you can use as much hotspot as you want on your Visible line. It's, yeah, the download and uplink speeds they're decent. They're not like the fastest, but they're decent, you know, if you want to connect your laptop and browse the internet. But other than that, and that's $25. You pay for $45 and you get to add like a smartwatch that has LTE compatibility. You get that involved in it. You get higher priority access to the network, faster 5G speeds basically with so I mean, they don't have a store at all. There's not a physical store in the United States you can walk into and just do dealings with Visible. Everything is through their mobile app. When you sign up, you have to download the app, create your account, do all that stuff, right? Companies like Helium Mobile, there's no physical stores for them either. Everything with them is through their app and online. So not needing a physical store, I can see that is the trend that's happening because it's less money. And even Visible, that was like one of their first campaigns when they reached out to me to try out their network and to create a video discussing, you know, their plans and all that stuff. That was one of their biggest things that they had in their little packet they sent me in the email was like, they don't need to pay rent or electric bills. Therefore, all the money they make can be reinvested back into the company and to provide, you know, competitive pricing for their customers. So yeah, I understand definitely on the fact of that. But, you know, while it can work without a physical store in there, you know, the only reason that I also see it as a bad thing is that let's, you know, say for example, you worked for T-Mobile and you've been with T-Mobile working for them for like 15, 20 years. And you're at your store and you get the notice that your store is closing down. You know, that would be the only bad thing to it, is just losing your job and having to start over, you know, because with jobs, it's not just, you know, working and making a paycheck, but also the amount of time you put in. So you literally, throughout the years, have tenure in a company. Therefore, things like vacation time, sick pay, you know, all the benefits that comes for you being, you know, an employee for you lose that because when you have to go find another job, you're starting from scratch. That's the only downside to it.
Gotcha.
Sad.
Let me ask you a question real quick. The reaction
Ask
I
me.
gave you, were you expecting that reaction or were you expecting something different?
I was expecting you to give something that was different along the lines of what I'm used to seeing, because see, one of the things is, and you know, nobody should be offended by this, but I'm just saying, I'm a nerd. My friends are nerds, so we see things very similarly, and my way of thinking is not absolute. You know what I mean? So it's refreshing to hear a different side of things, because this kind of like helps people understand that just because like myself and my friends, like, we think and react a certain way to things, doesn't mean that everybody in America is reacting the same way. Some people are going to be pissed because they don't want to spend a penny more than what they're
Right.
already paying. There are some people who are like, okay, I understand, they have business expenses or for whatever reason. Some of us on on my group of friends, we dig deep to find out if they're bullshitting, lying, or any of that stuff, and we bring it to surface. But nothing that we say, and this is what I always have pushed on my channel, nothing that we say is absolute. I am not Moses. I don't have the tablets. God did not speak to me. So when I say things, you can take my advice or not take my advice. I would never be offended by it. So I wanted something different because you see things differently. Like, because I've for those of you who don't know, every time something changes with T-Mobile, I hit my sister on Facebook Messenger to be like, "Hey, this is coming your way," or "Look out for this." But her reaction is never like, "Oh, fuck, son of a bitch, they fucking lied, they raised my..." No, she was never like that. She was just like, "Okay," because of the plan that she has, the multiple lines that she has. Plus, you have the car Wi-Fi thing with T-Mobile, right? And then you have you have like a lot of their perks that they were giving throughout the year. So you don't just have phone lines. I know you have tablet lines. You have your iPads that are hooked up. You have your car Wi-Fi thing that you're hooked up on. Do you have, or is the home internet available in your area? Yeah, your watches, your smartwatches, your Apple watches. Let me be precise. iPhone user, well, right there. So they have Apple watches. You don't have the home internet, do you?
No, and that's because I go through Hawaiian Tel, and that's because they have fiber, fiber optic.
Go fiber.
Yeah, so because of that, and I did do those speed tests on Ookla, and I do get very close to what they promised me. Okay, so I am satisfied. And when something's not broken, you don't fix, right? You don't change.
If you don't mind me asking, how much do they charge for the current plan you have?
Okay, so mine is also connected with TV. So I have TV through Hawaiian Tel. The only thing I don't have through them is a landline. I don't need a landline.
Who has a landline anymore? Well, I just shut my mouth. There's someone out there that has it, and they'll literally rip me an asshole if I talk shit about their landline. So let me take that
you better
back.
stop it. You better stop it. You're gonna get them all triggered. So I have cable, and I have cable boxes in every single room in my house, including outside in the patio. Yes, in Hawaii, we have TVs in our patio. I specifically have a TV in my garage too. They all function. They all have cable. But so I pay $129 a month.
Okay. Not bad. I'm going to answer this real quick. So Robert Allen says, what I don't understand is why can't people on prepaid buy new phones on monthly payments like you can on postpaid? It would help people on a fixed limited income get a good, decent phone. They actually do. The MetroFlex plan, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, actually allows you to do that. Google Fi, which is not a postpaid, it's a prepaid, sort of. It's like a hybrid. But Google Fi lets you basically finance a phone. Boost Mobile, you can do it on as well. So like prepaids, some of the prepaids, they do it. Even Visible, you can do it. You can do payments by using what's called Affirm. You just have to have the credit in order to be able to do it.
Actually, you know what? I've used Affirm, and you know what? They're actually pretty good. I like Affirm, you know what I mean? So, and they're very clear on finance charges. If you're financing for a short time, I know they don't have finance charge. If you're doing it for the long run, that's 6 months and more, they'll have a finance charge. But they're very clear on that, and it's not variable, it's fixed. So Affirm is good. I'm a customer of Affirm. I use them.
I've used Affirm. I don't have the greatest credit, which I understood that when I wanted to finance a phone. So actually, I ended up paying 30% of the cost of the phone up front, and then they financed the remainder in 24-month payments.
Oh, not bad, not bad.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. I only put down like $175 and then financed the rest of the phone.
Right. I mean, whatever helps, right?
Yeah. So
get a good
prepaids do have it. Prepaids do have it, Robert. There is ways that you can get phones, but there's even other like non-traditional ways of getting phones. Like I've talked to people on here that some of the other phones I get through OfferUp, and I've learned something. OfferUp has taught me something. I am very good at negotiating prices because in every phone that I've bought, whether it's the 11 Pro Max, the iPhone 12, I have talked my way for at least taking off 30% of what the original cost the seller was asking for.
Not bad.
Like, my 11 Pro Max, I ended up paying, I think it was only $150 for that. The 12, the person wanted $300 for it. I talked them down to $180.
Wow.
So
that's about 40%, somewhere around the 40%. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Using my knowledge of phones, and I'll throw it out there. Like, man, iPhone 12, that's a 4-year-old phone, man. You're asking for this, and it just makes them feel awkward. So we go back and forth, but there's Facebook Marketplace. I mean, I guess I like OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace because I don't like it where they ship me the phone. I like to meet them in person so I can test the phone out.
Test the phone out, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Let's see. Where I work, as they offer us service called Purchase Power, where we can finance a new phone. Nice. That's in Delaware. Gene's in Delaware.
Cool.
Yeah. So basically on this entire topic, like, it'd be safe to say, because as you are not, immersed in the tech thing. So like you said, which, and it's kind of cool because I only have one guest and I got two different perspectives. So your consumer side is like, shit, I got to pay a little more on my phone bill. But you also understand the business side of it, which pretty much like lets you're not caught off guard by this, basically. For someone that doesn't know anything about business and how businesses work, they'll just see the price hike and it's like a 50-50. They're going to be okay with it or not. Some people are heavy. And here's the thing. The reason T-Mobile gets such heat, they have a fan base of people like literally act like T-Mobile can't do any wrong. And T-Mobile has done wrong because, I make fun of T-Mobile because their freaking security is like Game Boy. It's like Game Boy level security. Yes, I've messaged my sister and told her be careful because of data breaches with T-Mobile. Every time there's one, I send a message to her so that way she needs to change passwords or anything like that, or she just needs to track her credit or her SIM cards, because there have been data breaches where they've done SIM swaps, stolen phone lines.
You know what? My husband and I, we don't really worry because, we pay a subscription to take care of our credit, basically, lock it down.
Not everyone could do that, though. Yeah, keep that in mind. But that's actually cool. That's actually cool, though. What is the service that you use that locks down your credit and monitors it?
I do it through Experian.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I use Experian. I don't subscribe to them to lock my credit stuff down, but I do use them to check my scores.
I do, and it's worth it. If you have good credit, you got to do it. You have to. If you're questioning, I don't even know why you're questioning. You know what I mean? You want to buy a house later on, you need credit. You need credit to get by in this world today. You want to get a cell phone? Credit. You want to buy a car? Credit. You want to buy a house? Credit. Anything you want to do, even when you want to rent a place, credit, So if you have good credit, I'm seriously saying, I know this is totally off topic, but protect your credit.
We're all over the place. Don't worry about topic. I know how to pull us back into the topic. I have a question for you, though.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's say finances were terrible. Okay, so now you got to remove your bank account out of your head.
So you mean to tell me you want me to go back 10 years ago?
Yeah, go back 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, go back 10 years ago. Okay, Now,
Okay.
if I was to tell you, like, say, like, you still had the plan that you currently have right now, and you were told it was going to increase anywhere between $2 to $5 per line on your account, and so now it's no longer favorable for you to stay with them. If I was to offer you, like, say, like, give you an idea, like, hey, you should probably switch to this company. It's unlimited talk and text. It's 30 gigabytes of high-speed data. You are slowed down for the rest of your bill cycle, but it resets every month. And for one phone line, it's $20 a month. Would you decline it because there is a throttle of 30 gigs and then you're slowed? Or would you say that that would be something that you would grab because it is affordable?
Okay, if you're talking to the me and all my circumstances of 15 years ago, I would. I would. Because at that time my kids were younger, so I didn't need so much high speed. Also, I wasn't in business, so I didn't need high speed. You know what I mean? If I was just like sitting around playing Candy Crush and shit, I wouldn't care, Facebooking, MySpacing, whatever. Back then was what, MySpacing?
MySpace.
Like, yeah, I really wouldn't have cared. Plus two, like, what they offered back then, as far as internet service at home and all that, you had all that. You did things on computers. I mean, you were less, 15 years ago, you were less dependent on your phone. That was the climate back then,
Yeah.
But if that's today, okay, this is a different time. 15 years ago, I wasn't a business person. I would have been pissed off and I would have been like, fuck this, and I would have left. I would have.
Right.
But today, having the knowledge that I have, yeah, no, I'm not changing just because T-Mobile is I actually understand why they're doing it. No,
It's
I'm
a little
not
bit
out there
different for
saying
you.
I want to spend more money, but nobody wants to spend more money.
But it's a little bit
But
different for you because you
it's
guys run
ridiculous.
your business.
Right.
You guys run your business, right? So like going to, like, say, Verizon and knowing the amount of phone lines you have on T-Mobile, plus the lines for your smartwatches, the lines for your tablet, and your car Wi-Fi. And if you were to go to Verizon and try to get something very similar, you would actually pay more. So in a sense, even though it's costing you more to stay with T-Mobile per line, you have a business that depends on all your devices working and connecting, which is important today when you have your own business. It would make sense that you even though it's costing you more, you're like, bummer, I gotta pay more, but it's not detrimental to you because having to redo everything for all your phone lines and setting all that up and trying to understand Verizon's policies and Verizon's features and stuff like that, that would be where it's just like, it's too much time consuming because with the business, time is your business. You don't have time to fuck around.
Right.
So
that, and also, you know what? My business pays my phone lines. I personally am not paying my phone lines. Like, I make money off my business. My business pays me. I'm not using what my business pays me to pay my phone lines. My business pays my phone lines, and it's a write-off. So, it's a no-brainer for me in that sense because I don't use T-Mobile as a consumer. I use it as a business, But perks, right? That's why I encourage a lot of people to work for themselves. Open your own little small business, whether it's selling little jewelries or just doing little things, because when you shift your mindset from an employee to a business owner mindset, there's a lot more perks. Why y'all think Donald Trump don't pay much taxes?
Ooh, get things started. Nah. just kidding.
No. I'm not kidding.
No, I know.
I was not among those people that was like, yeah, I want to look at Donald Trump's, record, his financials. It's a no-brainer for me. The guy's a business owner. Not only is he a business owner, but his wife owns a 501c3 or many. When you're a business owner, let me just back this up so everybody understands this and absorbs this good. When you're a business owner like Donald Trump, a lot of his expenses are paid by his business, not himself. I don't pay for a lot of things. My business pays for it. My car. I use my car for business purposes. I go to my appointments. Guess what? My car note is paid by my business, not from my paycheck. Tax-wise, the structure of it all, legit, I'm telling you, Bobby. I mean, I could totally tell you guys everything and come here and promote why being a business owner, even just a small business owner, is so like
rewarding.
It's so beneficial. It's rewarding. It's very beneficial in the tax. You know, people are looking forward to like their tax returns. Like, oh yeah, I'm getting my tax return. Yeah, my W-2s and this and that. And I'm like, girl, that's nothing. That's nothing really. Once you become a business owner, you see all the perks. Everything you do revolving around your business, purchasing a car, paying insurance, paying cell phone bills, paying rent, mortgage, or whatever. Write-offs galore. I mean, seriously, that's how Donald Trump doesn't do it, because I'm a small business and I see the perks. He is a conglomerate. He sees, and not only that, guys, he lives off of debt. He has a business and everybody's like, okay, yeah, he's got millions and millions and millions of dollars. He's got a lot of real estate and stuff like that. Not all his millions are liquid, guys. A lot of it is he's got assets, he's got hotels, he's got houses, he's got, just stuff, cars, yachts. He's got all that. So all his net worth is included in all of that. And Donald Trump actually lives off of debt. The best type of debt is the debt that he has. And people think about it and they're like, oh, why would somebody want to take out $50,000, $100,000, $200,000? You know what I mean? But we do it because guess what debt is? It's not earned income. Unearned. They can't tax
you're giving away
wait
a minute, you're giving away secrets now. You're gonna go tell everybody that basically if you start a business that you should pay your actual personal finances off a loan that you pull, a business loan, because it's not taxable income, so therefore you don't pay taxes on it and you pay back the loans through your what do you call it? Not your earnings. There's another word for earnings, but your profits. You pay it back with the profits that you make off your businesses. That's a secret. You can't be giving that to everybody. What's wrong with you? Now everyone's going to go and do it.
Well, it's not really much of a secret if you think about it. It's just people don't know how to execute it right and follow the laws. So just letting you guys know, everything I tell you, it's not verbatim, to how I really do everything. There are a lot of other things behind that. And you have to
giving away free
understand
knowledge.
tax laws.
She's giving away free knowledge. She's giving away free knowledge of personal experience to everybody. So she's not in consultation to help you guys start your own business. If you'd like that, reach out to her on a DM on Facebook, and then you guys can negotiate terms. But gotta put disclaimers in.
No. Yeah, so like, people have the abilities to do their businesses, start up their businesses, and you know what? Like, there's absolutely no reason people can't do it.
Okay, time out. Because I have an idea. Like, stop giving away all this free stuff because I want to save the rest of this topic for Tuesday. Why don't we just, on our podcast, talk about starting your own business? The pros and cons. Okay. And then we could go on that. And if you guys want to go and watch that on my second channel is where I host it, on her Facebook page is where she hosts it. And we talk every Tuesday, the Feed Your Head podcast, and we just talk from any little subject. And again, shout out to Sneed. Last Tuesday, he popped in. Titus comes in frequently to watch. So you guys want to subscribe to my second channel to catch those podcasts. It's every Tuesday, 12 p.m. my time, 9 a.m. her time, 3 p.m. East Coast time. So you guys have the timings. So no more of that subject now because that's for Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm gonna get through this last little bit, and then we can shoot the shit for the rest of the podcast. Now this is a totally different. It's same company, totally different opposite end, because prepaid caters to those people that have less favorable credit or just can't, afford like the most premium stuff. So they're what I call, and I don't mean this in disrespect, but they're for the paycheckers, the 9-to-5ers. Those that got to make a dollar stretch. Yep.
Yeah, the W-2s. The employees.
So recently, along with all the changes that's happened with T-Mobile and price increases, which didn't just affect T-Mobile postpaid, it also affected Google Fi, because Google Fi has an MVNO agreement. They use T-Mobile's network, and so they had things that had changed. T-Mobile's acquisition of Mint Mobile recently. So Ryan Reynolds sold his mobile phone company to T-Mobile, and I think he
Wow.
stayed on board as the face of the company. But T-Mobile now owns Mint Mobile, which is weird. T-Mobile owns a lot of fucking companies, and they have a lot of MVNO agreements. Helium Mobile uses T-Mobile. Boost Infinite postpaid and Boost Mobile prepaid uses T-Mobile's network to some capacity. And then you have like all the other really odd, strangely companies. But anyways, Metro by T-Mobile has, it's been T-Mobile's other prepaid alongside their T-Mobile prepaid, which I never understood why they had two. But anyways, it's always meant to be basically for those that just, don't want to spend a lot of money.
Right.
And, Metro has kind of been on top of the prepaid game just for what they give you. That has since changed, but this is not Metro's new plans. Their flex plans is what they call it. It's not really so much about price hike because there is a price change in it. Their original plans was $40, $50, $60, and that's with auto pay turned on. Without it, it's $45, $55, $65. Unlimited talk and text. The $40 plan is a little bit confusing because they had a promotional $40 unlimited everything. And then their original $40 plan was 10 gigs of high-speed data, and that's it with unlimited talk and text. But their $55 and $65 plan was unlimited talk and text and data, and I think like 12 gigabytes of mobile hotspot on the $50. 8 gigs on the $50 plan, 12 gigs on the $60 plan. I could be wrong. But you also got like Google One with 1 gigabyte of no, not 1 gigabyte. Was it? Yeah, 1 gigabyte. No, yeah, 100 gigabytes of cloud storage. I keep thinking one for some reason. And then they had a subscription. Well, you get a subscription to VIX, which is like a video streaming thing, I guess. I don't really know too much about it. I never signed up for it, but. And then on the highest plan, you got the Google One subscription. You got Amazon Prime, along with that. And so it's changed recently. Metro's got this flex plan where they increased the price by basically like I want to say $10 because it's now 50, 60, and 70. Not much has changed with the perks that you get, right? Like the $70 plan gives you the Amazon Prime, the $60 plan gives you the Google One, and then the $50 one just gives you the subscription to VIX. But what they're saying they're compensating for is that if you stay loyal for 12 months, you don't leave, go anywhere, on that Metro Flex plan, you'll be able to get the same deals that new customers get when they sign up with Metro for a phone. So that's the trade-off of increasing your plan is 12 months, which at front, it sounds like a good deal because then if they have a sale, $99 for an iPhone 12, you can get that same deal. But like for me, on my standpoint, my problem with it is that there are some hidden things behind that. So if you change your plan, so let's say you're on the $70 plan, you got to drop down to the $50 plan. That restarts your 12-month clock. At the same time, to switch your plan from 70 to 50, you're now paying a $50 one-time charge to switch your plan. So to me, it feels like I'm gonna lock you in because they also recently changed their unlock policy for their phones. It used to be 180 days after you bought it. They would unlock your phone and you can take it to whatever carrier you want. Now it's 365 days. They switched it up. It's a whole year now. So if you were a prepaid customer, you didn't have a lot of money, you didn't have a business, you didn't have none of that stuff, and let's say you were on the $50 plan that gave you the 100 gigs of cloud storage so you could back your photos up and everything, and you moved to the Metro Flex plan because you're in hopes of being able to upgrade to a new phone every year at a discounted rate. Without knowing that if you changed your plan or any of these things, would you say that was a negative or positive?
Again, you want me to talk
consumer only, no business.
Yeah, because first off, let me just share that not all consumers are educated. So yes, I'm gonna, as an uneducated consumer, not understanding business or anything of the sort, of course I'd kind of be mad, because like today everything is so like rocky. You know what I mean? One minute you have a job, and the next minute you don't have a job. One minute your job is there, next minute they close the brick and mortar and you're out of a job. So you can't afford, and you have to cut back, and you have to cut back. I mean, that's why people would go from a higher tier to a lower tier, is because they got to cut expenses, because their debt to income ratio is no good, So as a consumer, I would feel that was unfair. But a perspective also is like cell phone carriers, they're not really responsible for the life of the consumer. All they're doing is they're doing what they naturally do. Naturally, they're a business, and they're in this to make money. And people are finicky with cell phones. I mean, I'm looking at people that chime in on your Facebook page, that boost one, and so I'm like an admin on that, but I don't really do much on it because I don't have answers for these guys. I don't know. Oh
no. But Side note, real quick. Side note.
Okay, go ahead.
When I tap you in as an admin, the only thing that you got to do is just 3 things. One is, if you spot people arguing, give them both a warning that they need to knock their shit off, or you're gonna boot them out. 2, if they don't fucking listen to you, boot them out, because you can ban them from the group. 3, make sure that people are keeping it to the subject of the group page, which is Boost Infinite. If you see Visible, Verizon, Cricket, you tell them they can't spam this shit here. Go to the Cricket page on Facebook, go spam it over there, because you have these people that will go in and they will drop promo codes. Like, I've seen people go in there and drop, sign up for Visible now. Like, someone will put a long post about how Boost Infinite fucked them on phones and shit like that. Right. And then in the comment, you'll see someone use my promo code and pay your first month only $5 on Visible. It's like, no. You're not coming here to get yourself some credit by getting people to sign up with your promo code. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Okay, so let's stop right there real quick. You see how you reacted to that?
Yeah. Okay.
So cell phone companies want to keep their customers and want to keep them locked in, because the longer you're locked in, the more they're making money. They don't want their customers to be finicky all over the place, like how you don't want people going on Boost talking about Visible and how great it is and how Boost sucks. Same thing with these cell phone carriers. It's a competition, and they need retention. You've worked in retention. You totally understand this stuff,
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just pulling your your perspective in.
And so it's like, they gotta do what they gotta do to retain customers. So yes, they make contracts that seem very unfair, because yes, we want the flexibility to be able to go up a tier, go down a tier, and not have it affect, our status. Because we all feel like valued customers, right? We're all valued customers. We all pay our bills and shit like that. We pay them. They're getting our money. But I mean, at the same time, you got to look at the business person's standpoint. This guy only comes to get this service, and then he dips. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that happens a lot. That fucking happens a lot.
Yeah. So, like, they got to pay bills too. They get somebody to pay. And every time customers are being finicky and shit and saying, oh, fuck this, I don't like this company, I'm going to go here. Oh, fuck that company, I don't like go here, I like go there. Or, hey, let's take advantage of the fact that they're giving free service and free this for this month. Oh, and you know what, we'll do it under this email. And then next month, you do them and get us to see, because customers cheat the system and shit like that, it's hard for, so if you're a customer and you're cheating the damn system, you sure as hell can't complain if the damn system is cheating you back. You cheat, they cheat.
Cheating you back. But you're right. No, it does happen. Like, I told you, right, that I have a partnership agreement with Helium Mobile, so I have a promo code that gives people 1 month free to try them out.
Okay.
I've posted it in my YouTube videos. I've posted it on social media. People here have seen me post it on social media. Sad thing is, right, is like, they use my promo code and they get a month free, and then they don't stay. They cancel like 2 days before their bill is due, But I've noticed a trend. They cancel, and I'm pretty sure it's like the same person that creates another account using my promo code and getting a month free. And I'm like, damn, dude, they're gonna take away, because like they used to do it. I think they used to do it where they gave you like $5 off only.
Right.
But because I had said like, yeah, on some videos I will, put in, about your guys' service, and that,
Right.
you guys deal with crypto and all that other stuff. And so they were like, yeah, we'll give your viewers this. And they gave me a promo code. And the promo code was like, boom. So your mic is still on, by the way.
I am. I'm still on. I'm just the kind doing stuff, and I don't want people watching me doing stuff, so I turned off my camera. But I am
okay.
very much here, and I am paying attention.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if you were like talking to somebody else and you needed me to mute you so that way your conversation could be private. But anyways, yeah, that does happen. So it's like for me, I like the flexibility not to jump from carrier to carrier, but I do like the flexibility to change what I want to change with, like say, because I have Metro. Yeah. I actually am not going to go to the flex plans because I really don't care about getting a new phone on a discounted rate or anything like that. I have the $25 promo plan that they were giving, and that plan should stay for the life as long as I don't change the plan. So it's $25 and it's unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data. I don't get Google One, but I pay an annual price for Google One storage, so I only pay once a year for that. And I don't get Amazon Prime, but Xavier has Amazon Prime, so I don't need it. We just use his for like shipping stuff. So like, when it comes to these, because sometimes I can get in my nerd ways and be like, oh, this is a fucked up deal and this rips people off. But like I said, for me, it's refreshing to have you on here giving your intake, because I'm only looking at it from a nerd standpoint. And I forget too that like, not everybody gives a shit. Like some people have commented on my video about the Metro Flex and they're excited because they want to be able to get a heavy discount on a new phone every year just for staying with Metro. And it's like, yeah, it would make sense, because if they're on the, let's say the $50 plan and they don't have any desire to drop lower or anything like that, they can, they would stay on the plan. They would fulfill the 12-month obligation that allows them to basically get a phone at a discounted price. Plus, too, what people got to understand is that if you reach 12 months and you don't upgrade, then if you go another 12 months without upgrading, then the discount on the phone you get is much greater because you've went 24 months without upgrading. So that's something that I did read on from Metro. But
yeah, retention is probably one of the, it's not one of the, it is the biggest challenge for any type of business, not just cell phone business, but any type of business, like Spectrum, and those are like what cable businesses and things of that sort. And even just even clothing stores, they want to retain customers, and so they're gonna do what they can, to keep these customers, and again, because technology is expanding ever so much, and things are changing, prices are going up for the vendor themselves, and they have to pass those charges to customers. When taxes go up for vendors, they got to pass that on also to their customers, to keep them running, to keep them going. And so and then customers are looking for ways to cheat the system. Now, when you're cheating a system, that's basically theft. You're stealing. And, unfortunately for the honest customers who are not cheating, they are footing the bill. They're footing the bill because they got to raise the prices. And the ones who are honest enough to just pay those prices and not cheat the system are the ones footing the bill. So the ones who should be kind of pissed off about all of this are the honest customers,
Right.
Customers that are footing the bill.
So with all those things out of the way, for those people that want more insight on the Metro Flex plans, I got a video that I dropped a couple of days ago that goes more in depth on that. Sneed just dropped a video, I think today, kind of going over that too, or it was yesterday. So you guys can check those out. Now, for those in the chat, you guys can feel free to ask my sister a question if you guys want to. I'll pop it up on the screen so she can read it. But I'm gonna go into what I call the lightning round when it comes to tech, because you haven't been on my channel to really discuss tech. So this is like refreshing for me because it's not somebody that is, gonna have an almost similar answer to me if I was asked a question. So I'm gonna ask you a series of questions. You just throw out the answer, okay?
For real. Here's the deer in headlights mode.
Oh, it's not gonna be anything. It's not gonna be anything too crazy, because I'm also a big fan of nostalgic tech. So I'm curious to know, because if someone was to ask me these questions, I already have my answers in my head of what I would answer. And I'll actually, you know what, just to like be on the level with you, I'll throw my answer out after yours. So we'll go with the first one. Pretty easy. Favorite phone of all time, and this could be anything from a flip phone back in the day to a smartphone of today. But the one phone that you had the best experience and enjoyed using the most.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you gotta think about the Samsung moment you had. You had to think about the BlackBerry you had.
Wow. And just disclaimer for all you guys, I am Gen X. So I saw phones shift and shit over time. But I would say my most favorite would have been the Nokia.
Which Nokia? The 3310? Was it 80, 82, 8910?
I don't remember. All I remember was I could change the housing. I could get flashing battery, flashing antenna. Like
you have the same answer as me. You have the same answer as me. Yes. My favorite phone of all time. And it's funny because I tell people this. It is my favorite phone of all time. I've never owned that particular model that you're talking about. I've owned the 3310, which you could do the same thing. You could change the housing on it and make it, translucent colored, like translucent green. Get the freaking battery pack that slides in the back that's got LED patterns in the shape of a marijuana leaf or freaking smiley face or whatever. And then you got like the freaking beacon antenna that's like blinking. So if you're walking the beach, because this is one of the cool things about those phones. If you're walking the beach at night, say you're on the north side, right? Like Haleiwa area walking the beach. I know where you are because I could see a blinking light off in the dark, which means you're on your phone. Yeah. Those are my favorite phones because of Snake.
Yeah, the game, right?
Yeah,
I like
Snake.
That game too.
So, yeah, okay. Let me see. Oh, okay. Now, excluding old phones, old cell phones like that, only including, you know what a feature phone is, right? It's like the early days before smartphones. So it's the one that had like QWERTY keyboards or slide out QWERTY keyboards, something that was a little more advanced. Between that and today's smartphones, what phone comes to mind as one that you had and enjoyed?
So you want me to talk about a feature phone that I had?
Yeah.
Okay. QWERTY slide out keyboards. Shit. No, guys, I've never owned a Sidekick. That's the first one that comes to mind because I remember those Sidekicks, but I never owned one of those. Shit. I
always wanted one of those.
Man, I forgot. I mean, I know there was a phone with a sliding keyboard thingamajiggy. You slide the thing up and it had two screens. It was called the Double Play.
LG Double Play?
That's what I had. And I gave it to my daughter because she thought it was cool to have two screens and play games on that shit, Mine's came out before yours. So the Double Play came out after the phone that I would name. I would name the LG Rumor Touch. It was the first feature phone with a touchscreen, but the touchscreen was shitty because it wasn't capacitive like today's touchscreens. It was resistant, so you had to put pressure. And I cracked the screen on one of mine because I got angry because it wasn't registering my touch, and then I pushed really hard and moved my finger up, and I heard the screen go. Are you sure it wasn't because of an early version of Flappy Bird and you fucking threw your phone? You sure?
Well, it wasn't Android at all. It had a proprietary software. So what I had was there was a system, an OS system called Symbian OS. They didn't really take off into smartphones, so never really made it to the mainstream. But I was able to take its version of Angry Birds and sideload it onto the LG Rumor Touch, and yeah, it sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. Gene says he had the BlackBerry from Verizon when it was silver in color, and it was his favorite phone. He paid in 1989 $30 a month for a BlackBerry messaging plan. Wow.
1989.
1989?
I was only 11.
Wait, they had BlackBerries in 1989? Where the fuck was I?
Okay, first off, you were 7.
Yeah, I was 7. Non-techies make the best. Oh shit. Our dog says non-techies make the best interviews for me about tech. Yeah, because you get to hear from somebody that doesn't give a shit about tech like you and I do. So here, trust me, they're gonna find this refreshing because it's totally different. Like, I think people get tired of the same answers. Like, if I was to go on Twitter and be like, "What's your favorite phone?" I can already tell you that, like, 30% is gonna say Pixels, 40% is gonna say Samsung, 45% is gonna say iPhone. And then there's going to be like the rest of the percentage is mixed up of like nothing phone, OnePlus, and it's the same answers. So when you hear someone give a different answer, it's like, whoa, it triggers a memory. When phones used to fucking be awesome. They're not as awesome as they used to be back in the day because everything is the same now. But that's for another topic.
Right.
Let me see. Do you know your pager codes?
Yes, I do.
Okay. The reason I ask that is because sometimes I fuck around on Twitter and I'll type out things in a pager code and see who can figure out what I'm saying.
Right.
Those tweets have no comments on them. I don't know if anyone saw them or they did and just didn't give a shit. They thought I was just posting some gibberish. But those numbers mean something. That's why there's spaces in between them. Do you remember the paperclip trick in a payphone?
Yes, I do. And I used it so many times. You don't ever have to carry a quarter. You got a paperclip.
Paperclip. It was funny too because people didn't remember like how long you're supposed to hold it to the metal cord before you let go before it shocks you.
Right.
It was only a little sting though, but like first timers, you could tell when it was someone's first time stealing a payphone call because they're scared to hold the wire, the clip to the wire. So they're like, it's not working. It wouldn't call out. Then you had to take it from them and show them how to do it and dial the number. Slight pinch, you let go because that means it routed the call through.
Yeah.
And yeah. We stole a lot of phone calls at Pearl Ridge Mall.
Oh yeah. I wasn't paying. I was broke. I was a kid.
Oh, Robert Allen says this. I guess this is a response to Gene. He says, I'm 58. I don't remember hearing about BlackBerry back in 1989. Me neither. I think back then the cell phones that mattered were like Motorola's, like the Zach Morris phone.
Well, no, the StarTAC was after. That was the little one with the little clamshell kind of.
I'm talking about the Zach Morris phone.
The brick phone.
Order pizza and order it to Mr. Belding's office as a prank, but he would bust out that brick moto phone.
Oh my gosh.
Those are hard to find, and
That is so nostalgic. If I come across one of those, if I ever do, I'll send it to you.
Definitely. I am planning when me and my wife actually move into like a house. Like we keep saying we're moving into the house and like we don't like what we're finding out in the market. But when I do move into a house and I do have my own office, I do intend. IKEA has a really nice glass display that I want to put old phones in it as my background.
Nice. That'd be cool, actually. Yeah.
That would be, because then people can see it. My wife's messaging me. She's having a tough day at work.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, one of her courtesy clerks quit last night. It was because like he tried to call in like 15 minutes before his shift started. He was like, I have a graduation to go to. I can't come. They told him no, they couldn't approve his time off, so he came to work. But he walked up he walked up to the closing supervisor and he's like, "Can I get my paycheck?" She gave him his paycheck. She's not supposed to because he was clocked in. He's supposed to clock out and then he can get his paycheck. So when she gave him his paycheck, he told her he quit, clocked out, and left.
Wow.
So now my wife is doing 3 jobs right now. She's running her front end. She's running the customer service desk where you get like money orders and stuff. And she's going outside pushing carts. Because they don't have, that's what he was. He was a cart pusher. Yeah, she's got a very, very bad team. Fuck Albertsons. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, aside from that, so you were watching the live stream when Xavier walked. Pretty cool, huh? It was.
Enjoyed it.
I was like
listening to everybody, you know, doing their cheers and stuff like that, right? And like, so mainland, right? So, okay, yeah. So Hawaii calls all you guys 48 contiguous states. We call you guys the mainland because you guys are the mainland United States, and we are little islands in the middle of the Pacific. Okay, so I was watching and I was typing. I pre-typed what I typed, what I said. And once I heard his name and everything, then I pressed the send or whatever is post. And at the same time in my house, I'm like, Choo!
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I had to keep the phone away from me.
Huh?
I had to keep the phone away from me because, like, literally, like, yeah, so I'll be honest. I broke down crying because I was so proud and I was so happy to see him walk. And, like, as he was going up, getting closer and closer, like, I just felt the waterworks just coming because I was like, it's a step forward. He's finally going to get his diploma in his hand. And then when it called his name and it just came out like someone turned on the hose in the back of my head. And then my wife she's crying too because she's proud. And man, was it like, oh my God. So like, for those who don't understand why I didn't do much videos the last couple of days, especially yesterday. Was it yesterday? No,
yesterday
it was Wednesday, 2 days ago. I didn't do much of a video on Wednesday. That's just because I was running opposition. So like, we wanted his family there to support him because it was his day. Like our thought process was, who cares about the family drama? It's his day. Everybody just shut the fuck up and get along and celebrate. Which, it turned out pretty good, but I had to run opposition because I had to sit certain people away from other people so they wouldn't be close to each other. And then I had to fight people coming into the graduation because like I had 13 tickets, right? We paid for extra tickets for more family to come. Since, Dad and Cho couldn't make it, I had additional tickets. So Ruben was there. He brought his date. So he had a date. And then it's funny because, you call me Bobby because that's the name you've called me since I was a kid. And my brother-in-law, Bobby, came. So it's funny because it was like, but he came and he brought his girlfriend, who we finally all got to meet. Nice. My wife's mother came. And so we had to separate people that didn't get along. And he had a whole row. I took a whole front row area. We're like fourth back away from the stage, so we had a clear view of the stage.
Right.
And then we had people coming in. They were like, Destiny was going through anxiety because I told Destiny, sit on one end of this row. And if anyone asks you, are these seats available? You tell them that my family's sitting in this row. They're outside smoking a cigarette. People started asking her, bless her heart. She calls me on Facebook. She's like, Dad, I'm scared. They're coming up and they're saying, are these seats free? So I messaged Ruben. I'm like, Ruben, can you sit by Destiny? And if anyone asks, our seats are taken because I already bought the tickets for that row. And so Ruben's over there. He's like watching after her. My wife is upset because she might almost be late because she had to drop us off. She had to go run and get her mom because her mom doesn't drive. Had to bring her mom. And the parking was already taken. So parking was full. So she had to find parking somewhere else. So basically me, my wife, her mother, and my wife's really good friend, Jovan, we missed when they were walking out to the stage. We missed that part. Because when we came in, they were already on stage. They were already in their seats. And they were getting ready to do the speaking. I know my wife was pissed off, because she didn't want to miss that. She wanted to see him because they walked through the crowd to the stage and then got on.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, when you have these big events, things happen.
Of course. It's normal. Everybody wants to, support their graduate. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody's excited, and nobody knows exactly where to go, what to do. There's just it just is that way.
Yeah, it was limited time too because they had another high school graduation at the same place that was happening at 4:00. So they also
you had to get out quick.
Yeah. Because his time was from 2:30 to 2:30 to 3:45. They needed 15 minutes to straighten up inside there.
Right. The next crowd.
But it was pretty cool. Like I said, I looked at Destiny and I told her you're next. And she was like, "Are y'all gonna do the same thing for me?" I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, and family will turn up for you, so we can all shout for you when you go and you get your diploma. And I was messing with Xavier because I told him, I'm like, they forgot to give you one more award. He's taking it serious. He didn't see. You could tell when I'm about to fuck with you. You could see it in my eyes. And he looks at me. He's like, no, Dad. I only get my diploma. I got my certificates in cybersecurity already. I'm like, no, they missed one award for you, Xavier. Like, you're supposed to get this over your whole class. He's like, what? And I'm like, you're supposed to get the one with the most tardies, the Travis Birkenstock Award. He's like, he starts giggling. I'm like, literally, I told him, I was like, he logged into his school profile with Coding Academy and looked at all 4 years. Year 1, freshman year, he was only on time to school 5 days out of the entire school year. He was tardy. He was tardy the whole time, and I'm like, dude, like 80% of that was during COVID. All you had to do was log in on your laptop. He's like, 2021, he was on time for a total would be equivalent to 3 weeks of school. That's 15 days. Year 3, he was only on time twice. The rest of the school year, he was either between 10 to half an hour late to school. And his senior year, drum roll, he was on time for a week and a half. The rest of the school year, he had been late between 10 to 30 minutes late to school.
You know what? Lexi is following in his footsteps, and it's called fashionably late. They're being fashionably late, It's a thing.
I told Xavier, I was like, they needed to give you that Travis Award, and you should have went up there and you should have said that tardiness is not something that you could do on your own. Many people contributed to your tardiness. Like McDonald's for taking the time to make those sausage McMuffins, because he did go to McDonald's to get breakfast. Or the city bus that didn't take a chance on a kid, because there was a city bus that wouldn't stop for him. The train runs by here and runs right in front of his school, and he never thought to get on the light rail. His school gives him a 2-year bus pass. Little silver card, NFC, tap it on there and you get on. Never got on a train. His thing always was he would wake up his mom and be like, I'm finally ready for school. And the question that we have for my amazing son, we never know what he does in the bathroom for 2 hours. I used to joke with them and be like, hey, clean up after yourself. We don't want to step on anything sticky. Because to me, if a young man's in the bathroom for an hour, he's getting acquainted. He's getting acquainted with himself. But so the whole time we never understood why he was in there for so long. He finally admitted to us what it is. He says the hot water, which we have really good hot water in that shower, the hot water puts him to sleep. So when I get him up at 7 a.m. to get him to school by 8, he goes to take a shower in the morning. He goes to sleep in the tub. Then he's like, have you ever noticed, Dad, when you knock on the door and you're calling for me, I don't answer until like maybe the 3rd or 4th or however many times you've knocked. It takes a while. It's like, because I'm asleep. I'm like, and here I am thinking that you're going like a man, just going off in there. He's like, no, he's saving himself for when he finds his true love. I said, that's great. Until that one girl like pretty much like gets you heated Then it's all downhill. The I'm saving myself for the special one goes out the window. So he and I have a standing bet. Which is cool though.
I'm not getting involved in this.
And he's not interested in girls. Like his interest right now is so he's still continuing to do his internship. His internship is now being switched. So now he is considered a college intern. And his work days are different now. So he's now working 3 days out of the week, but they're longer shifts. So he is working 10-hour shifts 3 days out of the week instead of doing 4 hours. And
well, yeah, the law, right? Because there's the law when you're juvenile and you're in high school, right? You're only limited to a certain amount of hours, but when you become an adult, you know, and a high school graduate, you can increase the hours. It's labor laws. That's what it is.
I never understood how that law worked because I think one of the biggest things that I'm proud of Xavier for is, you know, he maintained a great GPA. His GPA when he was graduating out in the senior year was a 3.9.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Last year, when he finished his junior year, he was at a 3.9 also. The year before that, he was at a 3.8. Year before that, he was at a 3.5.
That's great. Wow.
He maintained his grades while having 2 jobs. And sometimes those jobs overlap. Sometimes they were on a weekday. His intern was Monday through Thursday from 3 to 7 p.m. Mm-hmm. And then some days he had to work at Albertsons as a cart pusher from like 8 to close. You know, 2 hours, but he couldn't get over 20 hours.
Oh, yeah, wow.
And he maintained his grades. And he still found time to game online with his friends. And he found time to develop his video game. So the work ethics, I don't have to worry about him. He's got the message.
Bro, he sounds like my kids. Really. Because Cerise started working at 15. You know, she had her one job at the library. And, you know, after that, it was like, she still continues to work today. She works 10-hour shifts. Like, she's salaried, so she's not paid per hour. She has an annual salary, and she stays 10 to 12 hours sometimes, depending on what type of work he's doing. My daughter's an accountant, and not a college graduate accountant. She's just an accountant by experience because she started work from when she was younger. And I mean, he sounds like my kids. Be proud of him. My gosh. I mean, and she graduated magna cum laude in high school. So she had a job, you know, and she kept up, you know, her grades and stuff. Trey, he has really good work ethic. Very good work ethic. He took a lot of honors classes, but Trey is different. He didn't walk for his graduation, and it's not because of a disciplinary action or anything. He chose not to. He had no interest in that. And as far as girls, he ain't got interest in girls either. He just wants to start his own business, and it's just more into getting a career. And it seems like that's what this generation is doing. They're all more into their careers than they are into, you know, dating and stuff like that. You know, I think it's smart. That's
smart for Xavier because, like, you know, he's into gaming and he's into his career. And in fact, like, he's already made it clear what he's going to do if he doesn't push for cybersecurity. Because right now he has his options open. I know here in a couple of days he's gonna help me because what's giving out on my car is the starter. I did all the fucking, you know, the diagnostics I could. My starter is failing on my SUV. So, and thank the lucky stars for these brands like Nissan and Ford, because, you know, they don't want you to do your own work. They want you to actually take it to a mechanic. So they put the fucking starter underneath the intake manifold. So now I gotta take that apart. Just to get to it. And well, I mean, the starter's not failing. It's actually the solenoid, the pin. But I'm just gonna replace the entire starter because, you know.
Yeah, might as well.
So I'm gonna show Xavier how to do it on that. So we gotta take out the intake manifold. We gotta unbolt all that crap, take it out, exposing the starter, unbolt the starter, which I need my breaker bar for it because obviously it's torqued pretty fucking tight. So I'm gonna need a breaker bar to have the leverage to be able to fucking pop that bolt to take it out.
Don't
So I'm gonna show him
break
how
the
to do
code.
it.
Don't
Well,
break it and don't thread it.
well, that's why you use a breaker bar. A breaker bar gives you the leverage, so you're not, you have an even balance of pressure. I gotta show him how to do this stuff because I told him, Beth, even if you have the money to do it, it's probably better that you fix your own car than taking it to a mechanic, because there are mechanics who will rip you off, and you don't want to do that. Like I was telling him, with this one, I could just rebuild the solenoid, but I'll just replace the whole starter because the starter came with the car when we bought it from the lot, so might as well just replace it. The vehicle's over 100,000 miles, so might as well just replace the whole thing. I don't want to rebuild the solenoid and then the starter just completely like fails and dies. But yeah, but I want to show my son how to work on cars so that way he's able to work on his own cars. You save yourself the money. Plus, you did the work. Like I was showing him how to test for the starter failing. That was removing the trigger line, disconnecting it from its clip, and then running a jumper line from the positive battery straight to it and seeing if it cranks. And he was like amazed by seeing that. And I told him, like, your skills in computing apply here because most cars today are electrical. They use CPUs.
They're computerized.
Yeah.
They have CPUs and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was watching me go through everything. Like I was running through my entire ground line just to make sure my ground line wasn't corroded and destroyed. That was fine, and it wasn't loose, so I have proper ground for the battery. And then I was testing, what was it? Oh, I was checking my relays. So I popped open the cover. I switched 2 relays around just to make sure it wasn't the relay that was failing.
Right.
And so I did that. It still wouldn't start. You would hear the one click, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then, like, after checking everything that it could possibly be, I sat in the car. I turned the key and held it there for like 15 seconds. One click, won't start. Turned it off, kept doing it, and after 5 times, then it just turned on. So that tells me that the solenoid, the copper plating it's supposed to hit is pitted, so it's not getting 3,000 amps like it's supposed to. Yes, people, I know cars. I don't have a car channel. Like my buddies have their car channels. I don't have a car channel because I have a family vehicle. Like I don't race. I don't put in performance parts in my car. Not yet. And if I do, it's going to be a car that I buy that's like my own, like little hobby car. An 87 RX-7 FC3S. That's what I want to find and buy.
Wow.
I know you guys get a lot of them in Hawaii because Hawaii is like mostly into drifting. So you guys probably see them all over the fucking place. That or 86 Corolla hatch or fucking a 180 SX, the Nissan 180 SX. That one. Or the S15, S14, or S13 Silvias. Then you get the drag racers.
My son wants a Silvia, actually. He does. Believe it or not. Because he wants to drift too. He wants to be drifting. I'm like, no, you're not practicing on the car you have now. No.
Oh, on the Challenger?
Yeah. I'm like...
You never know if he ever did. That car can drift, but you never know if he ever like tried. You could have power slid it.
All I gotta do is look at the tires. I'll know. I just gotta look at the tires.
Well, if he's not actually doing a real drift, if he's doing a power slide, not really. You won't tell from the... Most people pull the e-brake to fishtail it. That's a power slide. If you're drifting, you're using your gears and your braking and your acceleration to actually drift. Then you can tell by the tires because they're balled out if he does it a lot. Unless he gets drifting tires. They got a little bit more grip, a little bit more threading, a little bit more life on it.
Why do people like doing that though? Like, I don't understand. Like,
because blame Initial D. It's all Initial D's fault. When they came out with that anime and showed what they were doing in Japan on mountain racing, how they were drifting, because that's really what excites people. It's not drifting the flat surfaces. That's boring. It's going on what the Japanese call toge, which is a narrow mountain road with hairpin turns. You can maneuver that by drifting.
So something like Tantless, but they can't because Tantless is a messed up road. It's not smooth.
Yeah, well, that's why they used to drift at Tantless. But then also, yeah, Tantless is a messed up road, and they also started putting speed bumps by like the residential houses on there to stop everybody from drifting. Because Yeah, you don't want to fuck your suspension drifting and hitting that speed bump and then lifting off into the air sideways coming down. You'll definitely fuck your suspension, your springs. Yeah. And your alignment will get jacked. Amir. Amir. I told you about how he fucked up his I told you how he fucked up the neon, right?
You did. Didn't he like curb it?
Yeah, so so we went to tracks over there by the industrial area near Evo, out that way. Remember where tracks is, right? The drag racing strip?
Yeah, that's in Campbell.
Yeah. So not far from Campbell, there's an area, they call it triangles because it's one way in and then the road goes in like a triangle because there's business buildings right there.
Yeah, I know which one.
So we go there to practice drifting because it's, 3 corners.
Right.
Depending on which way you go, you're either going all lefts or all rights.
Right.
So, okay, mind you, Amir's driving a fucking 2000 Dodge Neon. It's a front wheel drive. You're not drifting an FF. An FR? Yes. FF? No. Well, he thought he can drift. So we told him don't go. He decides to join the group of people that's going. So there's car after car after car just drifting. So Amir takes off and follows them. He's driving. He hits the first corner. We hear his tires screeching. We're like, oh, please make sure he makes it back. We hear him hit the second corner. He's fine. So we're looking at the third corner that comes back towards us. There's no purple neon. Where did it go? So Kaylee's like, we jump in his neon. We drive to the third corner. And right there, we see Amir just squatted down, looking at his tires. It's fucking warped. He went right into the curb at fucking like 45. Bam. So his alignment's not only jacked, but it's also warped. One tire's out, the other one's straight. And
that's messed up. Could you explain what an FF and an FR are?
So FF is a front engine, front wheel drive. So the engine sits in the front.
Yeah.
The power is to the front tires.
Right.
FR is front engine, but rear wheel drive. So the power is distributed to the rear tires.
Okay, so Challenger's an FR.
Yeah. So like the reason why that they mentioned the location of the engine is because you know what a Toyota MR2 is, right? Okay, the MR stands for mid-engine rear wheel drive. The engine's in the back, kind of like in the middle.
So all the weight is back there, and if it's a rear wheel drive, because the weight distribution, yeah.
Yep. So it has better grip, which is the reason why when people try to drift with a Toyota MR2, they oversteer a lot because the weight. And especially if you race an MR2 and you don't know how to do load shifting, where you shift the load of weight of your car based upon like your acceleration and your steering, you could actually shift that weight. Most people don't know how to do that. They shift too fast, or they shift and clutch too hard. There's a lot to going into that. At least in my years, and thanks to Dad, because Dad, like I had the basic knowledge of street racing. Dad filled in the proper mechanics knowledge in my head. That's where I learned. There's reasons to certain like when you're drag racing, there's reasons to double clutching. You don't single clutch and shift. You clutch, you take it out of gear, you clutch again, and you put it back in your next gear. You don't just clutch and go straight to your next gear. Yeah, it's just the way that the transmission's built. You have a band on your transmission. There's actually, and Dad confirmed this, there's actually a way where you can, it's called power shifting, where you can shift with the manual without clutching. But you have to know your transmission inside and out, which means that you have to build your transmission, because you have to know the exact timing of when the gear band is aligned with the two gears to make that switch without clutching. Otherwise, you'll damage your transmission. And you would only do that if you're drag racing and you're trying to get low numbers, like if you're trying to hit 8s on a quarter mile, and you're using. So if you're gonna hit 8s, you want to power shift, which means no clutching at all, but you also want to use NOS at the same time, and you want to hold your NOS button down, not just hit once. You want it to consistently like spray high pressure to get it igniting enough for more boost.
I wonder how many of your tech friends here are into cars as well, right?
Some of these guys are into cars. Everyone in the chat, put a hand emoji if you're into cars and you work on cars, or if Even if you don't anymore, if you used to like race cars back in the day. Because I remember Amir was trying to start that car club and no one took his ass seriously. Why? Because he didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
Can't have a car club and not have your monthly fees. Like, you have to charge your member fees because you're trying to build that money so like you can enter car shows and compete, or enter when we used to have the racing events at tracks. You would have to, pay for your racers' entrance into competing to win the prize, to win the fucking first, second, or third prize. All kinds of stuff. But I heard in Hawaii they really crack down on street racing now, so you can't even like really do it like on the H1 or even going through like the H3 tunnel. You can't do it anymore. Like, it's like huge fines if you get caught.
Yeah.
You said too many accidents. Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're not doing anything about the current tracks right now. So, but people,
it's shut down, right?
So like, I'm part of a couple of car club groups. No, I don't race. No, I don't put anything in my cars, but there are Facebook groups, but I love Dodge cars. So like,
she's got a Charger.
My son bought my Challenger and I have a Charger. I love Dodge cars. So Mopar, it's a Mopar group. So I joined that, and of course there's a lot of discussion about tracks because every now and then the government will sit and they will entertain a little bill to, try and get that going again. And they're kind of stuck because they don't know if they want to keep it where the government's funding it or if they want to privatize it. Somebody wants to just privately come in, and so they're trying to figure that out because the land that it sits on, it's not private, So there's just long-winded discussions, no solutions. But that's my state. My state is all about that. Talk, but not much of a solution. Then they'll table it for the next session, which is the following year.
Got it. Well, so besides cars, shifting tracks, no pun intended. So earlier today, I was actually testing out a game. I did stream it to Facebook. I'm going to start streaming like my gameplays to Facebook and probably X, and stop stream. Well, maybe once in a while stream them to YouTube, but mostly like on X and Facebook. But like, I have an emulator for Nintendo Wii. And so I downloaded Super Mario Bros. For Wii, so I was playing that today.
Oh, I saw that.
So, of all the Mario games you've ever played, what is your favorite one to play? If you don't worry about emulators or game consoles, if you had it and you had a way to play it, what would it be? It could be anyone from the very first one to the most recent one. Doesn't matter if it's the RPG one on Super Nintendo. If it's Mario, it's included. So Mario Tennis, Mario Sports, Mario Baseball, all those included.
Shit. Okay. Wow.
Even original Donkey Kong.
Man, I'm so damn Gen X, and I'm not a gamer at all. As far as like playing on consoles and stuff, yes, I play Candy Crush. I still play Candy Crush every now and then.
That does not count. That's not a Mario game.
I know it's not, but the very first one, because guess what? It was on the old school thing, and they had little bit buttons. Today's shit, I have a Switch. Fucking buttons here, button here, button here, button. 2 joysticks. I don't know what the hell you need 2 joysticks. Why do you need 2 joysticks? Yeah, I don't like that.
This is my gaming pad. Trigger here,
right,
save on this side, trigger here. Then you got these, got this, got these, that, and then your traditional D-pad.
See, I like the original Mario, the very first one, where you only had A and B and a direction. That's it. I like simple. That's complicated.
This was my gaming console, and a big fuck you to Google for taking away Google Stadia, because that's what this is a Stadia controller. When Google started doing cloud gaming, where you could do it from your phone, you can easily switch to your computer, you can easily switch your game to your TV without having to restart your game. This was a console. Then they shut it down.
Why?
They took it away because Google kills everything. Have you ever seen the Google Graveyard?
No.
I'm going to show you the Google Graveyard.
Yeah?
This should be interesting.
Yeah, so very first Mario, because I didn't have to do much to play it. Press A, B in a direction. That's it. Nothing more than
No.
that. Oh, but I did like the one with Yoshi. The first game with Yoshi. When they introduced Yoshi.
Yeah, Super Mario World.
Okay, so I like
Let's
that
see.
one too.
Killed by Google.
There's like a legit graveyard.
Come on, look at the comments. All right. Well, killed by Google.com. Oh. Yes, this is the Google graveyard. I think you might be hearing myself again. Why does it do that when I share a screen?
Because it does. But I don't hear myself, so I don't have feedback on my end.
Okay, cool. I'm not worried about the feedback on my end. Anyways, altogether, there's 295 things in the Killed by Google graveyard. So you might remember some of these. I'll name them. Google Jamboard. Okay. And then there was Jamboard. So Google Jamboard was a web and native whiteboard app that offered a rich collaborative experience. It will be about 8 years old.
Wow.
It's dying this year. These are all gonna like die here soon. So December 2024, Google Jamboard will end. September 24th, Jamboard will end, which I guess probably was like the workspace version. So that's like for like businesses that use Google Enterprise stuff. June 2024, VPN by Google One will die. So they're gonna stop doing that.
Okay, wow.
Dropcam killed about 2 months ago. Dropcam was a line of Wi-Fi video streaming cameras acquired by Google in 2014. It was about 15 years old. It lasted from 2009 to 2024.
Dang.
Google Podcast killed about 2 months ago. Google Podcast was a podcasting hosting platform and an Android podcast listening app. It was almost 6 years old. It just died this year. Let's see. We have Keen, Google Domains, Google Optimize. This one's funny. Pixel Pass. I knew this was not going to go. Even though I'm a Pixel fanboy, this was not going to last long. This was a program that allowed users to pay a monthly charge for their Pixel phone and upgrade immediately after 2 years. It was almost 2 years old, and then Pixel Pass died. And that's because people just like jump to iPhones or jump to Galaxies. So they never really stuck with one thing. So you got Google Cloud IoT Core, Google Album Archive, YouTube Stories died last year. It was a copy of Snapchat, Grasshopper, Conversational Actions, Google Currents, Google Street View standalone app. So Google Street View is baked now into Google Maps.
Right.
Jacquard, Google Code Competitions. There's it. Google Stadia killed over a year ago. Google Stadia was a cloud gaming service combining a Wi-Fi gaming controller and allowed users to stream gameplay through their web browsers, TVs, mobile apps, and Chromecast. It was about 3 years old. Google On Hub, YouTube Originals. Wait, what the hell is that? Oh, YouTube Originals was a variety of original content, including scripted series, educational videos, and music and celebrity programming. Yeah, they stopped doing that. But you had Threadit, Duplex on Web, Google Hangouts, Google Surveys, YouTube Go, Google My Businesses, Google Chrome Apps, Cormo Jobs, Android Auto for phone screens, Google Duo, G Suites, Google Assistant Snapshot, Cameos on Google, Android Things, Angular JS Streams, Material Gallery, Google Toolbar, Google Sites, the classic version, your news updates, Google My Maps, Backup and Sync, Google Bookmarks, Chat-based, VR 180 Creator, Post on Google, Fitbit Coach, Fitstar Yoga, Tour Builder, Expeditions.
Okay, they have a lot. 295 you said, right?
Hell yeah.
And guess what? I've only heard of maybe 2 or 3 of those. which means I'm not a big Google user.
I'm sure you heard of Chromecast Audio. You've
Yeah,
heard of Google Goggles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they killed the goggles. What's the goggles? Wait, refresh my memory. Goggles.
So it was used for searches based on pictures taken by handheld devices. So the reason that some of these things, I don't mind them being killed off because they've been replaced by something better. So Google Goggles, today it would be known as like Google Lens, where you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was called before, and then. So yeah, some of these are much needed deaths. Like you don't need two apps doing the same thing, which is why like, Google Pay and GPay, they don't need two of those. So one's getting killed off. Google Wallet, I think, is the one that's going to stay. And that's fine because we don't need three different apps that handle your debit, credit cards, and your freaking, yeah.
Makes sense. Duplicates. Why? I mean, so much space taken. But yeah, most of these I've never heard.
I didn't know about this one. So, yeah, those who are still watching, Chromebook Pixel. So Chromebook Pixel was first of its kind laptop built by Google that ran Chrome OS, a Linux kernel-based operating system. It was about 4 years old. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It's not Pixelbook. It's the very first one, the Chromebook Pixel. Wow. Scared me. I was like, wait a minute. Pixelbooks are going away? Like, no. This was the only one, so I'll leave it at this. But this was the only one I was really excited for, which is Project Aura. It was Google's attempt on building its first modular phone, and I can definitely understand why they killed that. Because then people wouldn't be buying new phones.
You said modular phone. What is a modular phone?
So the Project Aura phone, just picture this phone with a bunch of like blocks on the back.
And what's the blocks for?
Each is a component, like the CPU, the GPU, the Wi-Fi modem, the cellular modem, the battery, the camera. What the idea of Project Aura was, instead of buying a whole new phone, just upgrade your parts. You don't like a 50 megapixel camera, get on the website, order the 100 megapixel camera, pull it off, attach the new camera. Now you got a whole new camera, new sensor.
Wow. And it's plug and play, or
it was plug and play. So
wow.
the idea was to make it plug and play. The very first concept of it was and you really didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to be a tech head to understand it. All you had to do was just like plug in the camera, and a little window would pop up on your screen, and it would tell you to basically to update the software to add that aspect of the phone. And you would just hit OK, and then it would like update, so that way the phone could read, this is not a 50 megapixel, this is a 100 megapixel camera. And therefore, Google Photos would be able to be calibrated for the photos that sensor takes. But it took too long for them to build. And the only demo they had was back in 2014, where they went up on stage at Google I/O and they took a picture of everyone that was there to show the camera worked. But that was pretty much it. Like, they couldn't get it connected to LTE. They couldn't run any games or stuff on it. Because that was the entire idea. Like, you would just buy your phones in parts. You want a 1080p screen, you would buy that. If you wanted a 720p screen, you'd buy that. And on the back of it, it would have all these little ports, and you would just plug in each piece, building your own smartphone, basically. But it didn't take off. It didn't have backing from carriers, because carriers are like, fuck that. We're not going to support that, because then we can't sell phones. We'll just be selling parts, and the parts will be far cheaper than buying a phone. Like, look at phones today; they're like over $1,000.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So it never came out. All they want
you to do is they want you to just keep up with the Jones and keep on buying the newest phones.
Pretty much, that was the idea of it. Speaking of phones, how is your iPhone? You have the 15, right? Or the 14?
14 Pro.
How are you ready for the changes in iOS 18?
I don't even keep track of that. Okay, everybody, I'm not a techie. I don't know anything. Like, all these changes, all these iOS updates, I just do them. But I wait. I don't update right away.
No, but you've used Android though, right?
I wait like a couple weeks before I update my iOS, because I know when you update it at the time, sometimes there's gonna be glitches and shit.
Yep.
So I don't mess with glitches. I ain't got time for glitches. So once they have the update out, so I don't have it on auto update, I manually do it and I wait 2 weeks. So they can come up with the fixes, you know? They'll have the fixes and shit. So
that's right. You don't want to take a software update right away.
Well, you told me that.
But yeah, the reason I'm asking is because before you went to iPhone, you were using Galaxies before, so you're familiar with Android and how it functions. So with iOS 18, the reason I ask if you're ready for the updates is because I don't know if you're like if you're the type of person that when you get used to something, you don't like it to change. Because iOS 18 it's not a drastic change. You're still gonna have icons on your home screen. It's just you'll be able to actually put them where you want. They don't fall into order like how iOS automatically, like if you move it down here, it puts it up here because that's the last app. Yeah. Now you can put your widgets and apps where you want. You can have one down here at the corner, one up here at the corner. They're slowly breaking away the chains of you using the phones the way they want you to use it to now using it the way you want to use it. So that's one major change with iOS 18, along bringing RCS messaging. So if I text you from my Pixel, it won't come as an SMS text message. It'll come as an RCS message, which is similar to iMessage, encrypted end to end. I don't know if it'll be encrypted from iPhone to Android, but if I send you a photo, it'll be much better because it'll allow more, it allows more to travel through rather than like SMS where it's like it scales down your photo and you lose the resolution and the quality. With when you send a photo on iMessage, it's like really clear high res. So when an Android user sends theirs on RCS, it'll be really clear and high res photo. It won't be scaled down.
Well, that's great, actually. That's a good thing because I have cousins that we get together. Sometimes they take photos from their Samsung. They send it to me and it looks so pixelated. It looks junk, really junk. So I mean, that's a great thing. And being able to put my little widgets and whatever's wherever I want to put my icons. I mean, that's a good thing too, because on my phone, I have my picture of myself and my husband. And, right now, there's things.
I'll grab my iPhone real quick. You can keep explaining. I'll grab my iPhone. I'll show you mine.
Okay, yeah, because I can't show you mine because I'm using my iPhone right now. I'm using my iPhone.
I had to go because I have my iPhone on my bed.
But yeah, so I mean, I do like that I can put my icons where I want. That's a cool thing. I'm looking forward to that, I guess. But I won't do the update for 2 weeks.
No, you could just, or I'll give you the go, no go on it. But I'm waiting because I know this will get iOS 18. That's why I don't care to have the latest iPhone. This will get iOS 18. I think this will have another 2-year support on it before it's dead. Well, not dead. That's an interesting thing. That's one thing I want Google Pixels to adopt from Apple. Because even though if I look at say my iPhone, the iPhone 10 that Reese gave me, it's not getting iOS 17 or iOS 18. It's still on iOS 15, but it still gets updates. So I think the last update I got was a couple of months ago. It got an update. And that's something that I wish that Google Pixels would do. The Pixel 8 will get 7 years of software support. So it'll go all the way up to Android 21. But what I really want Google to do is the ones that are outdated, like my Pixel 5. Okay, you don't have to put it on, Android 14 or Android 15, but continue to give it security support. Right. Google can't say that they can't do it. They don't have the manpower to do it because Apple does it. But then again, I can't expect Google to do that because on contrast, yes, I am a Pixel fanboy, but I do know that Google's bread and butter is not their phones. It's not hardware. It's their advertisement on search. They're only making Google Pixel phones and watches because they make a lot of money and they don't want to get hit by the Department of Justice. So they got to spend money. So to make sure that they're not getting attacked because of all the money that the parent company Alphabet Inc. makes, they build Google Pixel phones, they build Chromebooks, they freaking have all these other side services and stuff they're spending money on. So It doesn't look like a monopoly where the DOJ's got to go in and split them up.
Oh, so, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that's why they don't invest so much into it as far as like advancements into that sort.
Yeah, they'll fuck around here and there, but yeah, which sucks because the potentials of Pixels are really good. That's why I carry both. Like, I carry both because I have a really good experience. Like, I've matured over years when it comes to tech. I'm not about the tech wars. I don't give a fuck if you use an iPhone or if you use a Pixel or a Samsung Galaxy. They all have their perks. They also have their weaknesses. And it's just really, it resonates with you. Like, well, the other day, I told Ruben because he broke his phone. Fucking dumbass broke his phone. I don't know how, but he just does. So he's like, he's going to go get a Pixel 7. But then he's like, well, I don't know. I might try something else. So I told him, like, hey, why not try an iPhone? Because that's something he hasn't tried. He's like, no, right? Because he's heard me before talk about that I'm all about Pixels, fuck iPhone. So he's like trying to stay on that same level. Right. So at the graduation, I took pictures with my 11 Pro, and I sent it to him on Facebook. And he was tripping out on the photos, and I told him, Pixels take really amazing photos, but it doesn't mean that iPhones can't do it either. You know, and he's an amateur smartphone photographer. So just imagine if I gave him my iPhone 11 for the day and let him take pictures with it, what he could come up with.
Right.
Because he's taken some amazing photos that he's took with a $50 phone, and you would never know it was.
Right.
That's because he knows how to take his photos. He knows all the tricks of the trade. So I'm like, I told him, like, try out an iPhone. He might like it because it's very simple to use. And as a matter of fact, between Android and iOS, it's the same fucking thing. There's applications on the screen, touch one and it opens. There you got Facebook. And Facebook runs almost the same with a few minor bugs here and there of differences.
Yeah.
That's really all it is nowadays. So, but I carry Apple because some people use Apple. So then I use Apple to interact with them. And then I got people that use Android and I use my Pixels to interact with them.
I see. Well, we're all exclusive Apple because when we first started our business, everything we did was on our iPad, and then we got a MacBook, and then so for everything to flow seamlessly, you know, without downloading anything more or doing other steps, because I'm a simple person. I don't like taking extra steps to do something. I like to just, you know, log in to my Apple account on each of my devices. Oh, voila! Everything seamlessly. You know, if I need something on notes on the go, I'll look on my phone. If I need something on notes at home, I go on my MacBook, or I go on my iPad. You know, like I have so many different ways. You know, if I lose battery in one, I have my other devices that I can glean my, you know, whatever I need from, you know, like notes or any text documents, you know, or whatever.
It's easy to airdrop, huh?
Huh?
It's easy to use airdrop, huh?
Hell yeah. If I gotta send Reese a photo or something, I just be like, Reese, is your stuff on? Can I airdrop you something real quick? Yeah, instead of texting it to her, emailing it to her, I just airdrop it. As soon as I see she's there, click it, and it goes. Goes right on her phone, just like me. So
she got by the ecosystem. I mean, technically it's true, but you got to honor the fact that Apple does have a really good ecosystem. That's something that I will never take away from Apple. When people are like, if they want to debate me with Android versus iOS, the moment they drop the ecosystem and the things it can do, I have to admit, I'm a nerd, but I'm not a lying nerd. I'm not going to lie to push Pixels and say they're better. No. Because they're better for me. That's been my overall argument in the tech space is what's best for you. What you want to use it. And fuck everybody else who says otherwise, because it's your money, you're paying for it, you have to deal with it. If you buy something because somebody else tells you you should get this, it's better, and you go and do that, well, now you just bought from their experience, and if your experience doesn't match theirs, you're going to have a terrible time. You're going to feel like you got
You know what? I'm a layman person. I know, you know, I meet people often, and I don't ever remember anybody that I've ever met who asks me, do you belong to the Apple ecosystem or the Android ecosystem?
I'm glad you said that. I got a question for you.
Ever asked me that, and I've never asked anyone that. Hi, your name is so-and-so? Oh, so-and-so. Are you with Apple or are you with... It almost sounds like a gang, like a tech gang.
I'm gonna ask you this question.
Grips.
I'm gonna ask you this question. Those that's watching right now, get ready for the answer to this. Okay, so the blue and green bubbles. When you get a text, does it bother you if it came from a green bubble?
No.
You don't get mad? You don't say, oh, I won't reply back if it's a green bubble, it has to be blue?
No.
That is, and y'all in the chat, back me up on this. That is the number one thing in the iOS Android wars, that those who have iPhones, they go to that very moment. There are women who will get a guy's phone number at a club. They text him hi. He responds back as, hey, how's your day? But it's in a green bubble. Do you know that they won't respond to him after they see that green bubble? There's a reason to that why. I'll tell you the reason, and you're probably going to find this to be really fucking stupid, but...
Okay, so you text me on blue bubbles and green bubbles. The only time I get mad at the bubble is if the bubble, the content that's in the bubble says something stupid. If it says something stupid, then yeah, I'm not going to text you back. I'm not going to, ingratiate you with an answer. So if the content is stupid, I won't answer. But I don't give a fuck what color the damn bubble is. The bubble could be white for all I care.
So the reason why some of these women will not respond to a green bubble is because they're under the impression that if you don't have an iPhone, you're broke. That Android users are poor people. Kind of hard to argue that point because Apple only makes iPhones. There's no other manufacturer that makes a phone with iOS. Only Apple does. Where on the Android side, it's open source. That means that any company that has hardware, like you and Domingo, can start your own smartphone. If you had a person that could build you guys a phone and knows how to put together all the components, all you guys had to do is just go into the source code files. You can find them on GitHub, which is the source code files for Android. And if you have a programmer who can code, you can create your own skin for Android, load it into that phone, and sell it. You can't get sued because, yeah, it's open source. Android's free to any developer to use. That's why you can get custom ROMs. So I was actually thinking about that at one point, but I was like, I don't think anybody would, because of that fucking idiot in South America. The guy that has the same name as me, Roberto Escobar, the one who's brother to Pablo Escobar from Colombia. He started the Escobar phone. That's where I get a lot of shit from people that joke with me all the time about that, because he created the Escobar phone where he took a Samsung Galaxy Fold and he skinned it with the last name Escobar in it and sold it. And I was like, fuck, now everyone, and then what's worse is because we have the same fucking first name. And I'm not related to the jackass. Much less was I related to the drug kingpin. Okay, so now my dreams of creating my own smartphones just dead on there, because the fuck, as soon as people hear Escobar, they're gonna be like, it's that fucker again. He came back. He's selling bootleg phones. He's skinning them.
That's crazy. You know what? I never ever participated in those types of wars. But again, I'm not a person in the tech world either, so I don't take anything personally or anything of the sort. I mean, I'm an iPhone user. I have my own reasons for using iPhone. Has nothing to do, it's not out of spite or anger or trying to make controversial or something. But yeah, when I meet people, I do not ask them what type of phone they use. It doesn't matter to me. That don't matter. Only what matters is the content in the bubble. If it sounds fucking stupid, then yeah, I won't answer. I'll leave you on red because I think it's stupid, So judge not the cover or the color of the bubble. Judge the content.
Pretty much. Because, yeah, I always thought that was a very lame argument. And now that RCS is coming to iPhones, I'm sure they're going to keep the bubble green so it's coming from an Android phone and not another iPhone.
What I wonder is why does that even matter? Okay, so what I wonder is why do the developers make it like that? Why does that fucking matter?
So Apple made it that way because they wanted their users to be able to differentiate if the person sending you a message was also using an iPhone, because there are perks if it's iPhone to iPhone users, right? So they're able to control the encryption, the encryption between both phones when messages are sent.
So is it supposed to like give the users a sense of security? It's coming from another iPhone, so it's supposed to be secure. This is like
one of the biggest pain points of Android that Apple would basically stand on when they had their little, you know, battles between Android. They would always tell people that Android phones are full of viruses. They're infected with malware. They literally scared the crap out of a lot of people because everyday users know how to use a computer, but they don't know what malware is. They don't know what a Trojan is. They don't know what none of that stuff is. So if you have a company that sits there and says, yeah, Android's less secure, 98% of Android users all have viruses. That person's gonna fucking turn off their Android phone, take the battery out, break the phone, and then run off and buy an iPhone because they want all their photos to be secure, all their messages to be secure, banking apps. When it's furthest from the truth, because anyone can really break into an iPhone. I mean, shit. Celebrities have their nude photos leaked because their fucking iCloud got hacked. It can happen. It's the user. I always tell people that. It's not the phone. It's the user. If you're trying to get that cracked version of fucking Candy Crush so you can cheat, I can build Candy Crush and give you unlimited money, and then I can attach malware to it. Then when you download it, you've installed my malware on your phone. You never know.
Right.
So they always say trusted sources, get it from the Play Store. Unless you know how to look for malware and something. If you can strip apart an Android app and go through the coding line by line, and if you find a hidden code that installs something, because it does happen, you can do that. And then you can repackage the app back together, take that code out that is literally additional software, repackage the APK file, and then install it on your phone. If you know what you're doing.
I'm not a nerd like that either. So I just play Candy Crush the way it's supposed to be played. I don't cheat, and if I used up all my 5 lives, okay, that's it. So it's time to get the hell off the damn game and go do something else. Clean your house. You know, like I don't. I guess it's, you know what, us Gen Xers, right? We didn't grow up on tech. You know what I mean? We didn't really grow up on tech. So our lives really don't have to revolve around tech. You know, if it does, it's a choice. But, you know, today's generation is different. They grew up on it. They started from when they were born, you know. They were on their mommy's boob breastfeeding, and mommy's on, you know, on a phone and doing, you know, TikToks and shit like that. So kids today have grown up on that shit. We didn't grow up on that. We found ways.
We had a different level of tech, because I don't know if mom ever told you, but like, it's not a hack. What it was a mod. We used to mod our gaming consoles. So like the Super Nintendo, I was able to mod it so I could buy games over at the mall. And when we lived in Guam, the mall, they you know how they had imports from Japan, because Guam Japanese come down there all the time.
Yeah.
So they had the Super Famicom games, which is the Super Nintendo games, but in Japan the Famicom cartridges are shaped differently. So you had to mod the Super Nintendo to be able to put that cartridge in.
Right.
And so that's what I did, was I took it apart. And then mom yelled at me and said I was stupid because if it breaks, she's not buying me another one. And I'm like, but you didn't buy this one, Dad bought it. And then she smacked me in the mouth for talking back to her. But I still modded it, and it got it to work. And then like mom was mad when she took me to the mall to go buy me a game. And, you know, mom's like, if it ain't broke, it doesn't need to be fixed, you know, right? You don't fuck with it if it ain't broken. And my thing was, I wanted because Dragon Ball Z came out on Super Famicom, didn't come out on Super Nintendo. Can't play Dragon Ball. And you weren't home because you were gone.
And what was I gonna do? I'm not gonna do anything about it. I didn't care.
No, what I meant was that, you know, I didn't have anyone to hang out with. My sister would play games with me every now and then. The one game she still can't understand till today is Phantasy Star 1, 2, and 3. They can't fight.
What's the point of her being there if she can't do
She's a mage. I explained that before. She's a mage. You know, she needs spells.
But she didn't get it like from the get-go. You cannot just equip her and have her there and she don't do shit. You gotta collect spells? That's later. It's not even happening right now. She's just there to what? To look over his shoulder? Like what?
Avoid
What is she, eye
enemies and use a
candy?
hide a pipe. I started playing Fantasy Star 3 and I'm figuring out stuff. Avoid enemies and use a hide a pipe. That's what it's for. Avoiding enemies. As you're wandering the world, if you don't want to get hit into a battle, use a hide a pipe and you'll get away.
And what the hell was a hide a pipe?
Now I know what it is, to avoid enemies.
Right? And where do you get it?
Oh, you find them in like shops, or you find them out in the wilderness. If you come across it, discover an item, hide a pipe, discovered. It's in your inventory.
Yeah, I was like so confused about that game. The character should have came later. At least come with one spell. You know what I mean? Don't make her completely useless. You know what I mean? That game always.
If it makes you feel any better, she's only useless until the second world. You do all the combat by yourself as your main character.
And yeah, I was like, no. And I didn't play a lot of games with you. I did mostly watching you play games because I was too busy doing other things, like eating. I eat, I watch you play games.
Yeah.
I
Unless
live
it was Mario.
vicariously through you.
Unless it was Mario, or if we played Duck Hunt.
Okay, I like Duck Hunt.
And of course, my sister liked Duck Hunt because when we played together, since I'm the younger one, my job wasn't to hold the zapper. That was her job. My job was to use the second player controller like a bitch and then fucking move the ducks around for her.
Hey, but you know what? It worked out in your favor. You're good at using the multi-joystick.
I wanted to shoot a duck. When I played, I had to use the CPU and try to find out where it was going and shoot it. With her, it's like, just move it around and I'll get it. But I'm not as fast as the CPU, so of course my ducks got killed quick. Or the clay shots. Make sure they don't go off the screen, so I'm holding down to make sure they only arc and stay in screenshot so you can aim and shoot.
Was that called skeet shooting? Is that what it's called? Skeet shooting?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I forget. I can only play simple stuff like that. I cannot do things with joysticks and stuff. You're welcome. I got you well versed on a controller.
You weren't into those games that I played. Most games I was mostly interested in back then was fighting games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. That's what I mostly played.
Man, one thing I do regret. And I'm pretty certain, I cannot say I'm pretty certain because my son, he likes Xbox. But we had the arcade Street Fighter 2.
But was that the original arcade cabinet, or was that the rebuild you find at Walmart, the Arcade Up brand?
Original.
See, you guys should have never sold that.
That was the dumbest move. And the thing is, I didn't want to sell it. But Domingo told Trey, hey, if you want to sell it, boy, because it's your game. And he sold it to get himself an Xbox.
Smack that kid. Do you know that those actual original arcade cabinets were able to mod, and it didn't take a whole lot to mod it. You could actually added Street Fighter 3 and any other game because the board itself had one slot that had the actual game, and then it had like 6 other slots that you could add additional games onto. That's how, like at the laundromat we did laundry at, some game cabinets had like 3 games in one. Yeah. And you would just like choose from the opening menu screen which game you wanted to play, hit one player, and then it opens up that game.
Man, and you know what? I actually liked playing it. Because again, it was simple. Joystick, 2 buttons. That was easy. Easy to play.
Street Fighter, 3 buttons. High punch, medium punch, low punch, and the same configurations in kick. And I'm still undefeated. There's nobody in the family that can defeat me in Street Fighter. I still hold that title.
If I do see another Street Fighter or that particular one go on sale again, you damn fucking right I'm going to buy it. And I'm going to keep it.
If you buy it, I'll go to your house and I'll annihilate all of you guys on it. I'll even do a wager. I will fight you guys only as one character, and I'll fight as Dhalsim, and that's it. Will not choose Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Vega, Bison, Sagat, Blanca, or Guile. I will use Dhalsim or Zangief. Only Dhalsim, the slowest, long kick that's so slow to come out. Yoga Fire, Yoga Flame, Teleportation, Drill Kick.
Well, we know who I'm always going to play. I am always going to be Chun-Li.
Chun-Li's a badass.
Spinning kick.
Vega was my favorite character. I remember Dad used to watch me play, and he would always tell me, like, stop blocking Ryu's fireballs and try to attack him from above. And now I understood what Dad meant because, you know, Vega, obviously, he's acrobatal. So I started attacking from above by doing his little jump off the screen, pick up and slam.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, damn, Dad was right. And I didn't listen to Dad because Dad didn't play Street Fighter. So I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, thinking I'm badass on Street Fighter, dying every time I play against Ryu in the arcade. Like, hell yeah.
That is the game that I will buy. I will purchase it from anybody. I don't give a shit. And I probably wouldn't even think about the price either. I would just buy it.
If you want that as a collector's, you got to get two. You got to get Street Fighter 2 and you got to get Mortal Kombat 1. That Mortal Kombat 1, that is the game. And I remember everybody freaked out in elementary school when it first came out because it had blood and it looked realistic. But of course, we weren't into politics back then. We didn't give a fuck about that topic. So I didn't know that, you know, when Mortal Kombat came out, the US government was trying to ban it because it was too bloody.
Well, they was trying to ban NWA too because they didn't like, you know, the lyrics and shit like that. They was all trying to censor all kinds of shit.
I don't even know why.
It's all over the place, so hell.
You know, I still laugh about our childhood because, I mean, remember we used to take the school bus to school? The bus driver would turn on the radio and they would play modern day music, right? So like I'm a kid, and when Eazy-E's song "Give Me That Nut" was playing, I didn't understand the context of the song. Now that I'm older, I'm like, wait a minute, the bus driver was playing songs about sex with a bunch of elementary school students on the bus? Like, what the fuck?
You know what? The elementary school bus driver probably didn't even know what it meant either.
But people weren't too concerned about that because they were right. Like I remember when I was 13, the time I told you where Mom won the when she went to play bingo and she won, and she took me to get my N64 for Christmas, and she bought me a CD, and I bought the Busy Bones solo album, Heaven's Movie. I bought that, and the guy had to ask Mom if she gave permission for me to buy it because, you know, it has a rating on it.
Lyrics, yeah.
And then Mom's like, she looks at him, she's like, my son does what he wants. I don't care. And so the guy's like, well, this guy raps pretty fast, so I don't think you really understand what he's saying anyways. Scans it. Like music, pop culture from the 90s. I miss those. Like I know they don't have a place in today, even though today's young kids try to incorporate that in their style. It seems out of place when they try to do it. Like when now Jinko jeans have returned. My wife showed me a TikTok video of a new ad campaign for Jinkos. And I'm like, that's what I wore back in the day, you know, when we were into breakdancing and wearing either Jinkos, Menace pants, or body shop clothing, Ben Davis shirts, Dickies, you know, buttons up. Those all that stuff's coming back in style. Baggy clothes is coming back. And I'm like, you know, Xavier's like thinking about, like, he bought himself a pair of baggy pants, and he's like, they feel kind of big. And I'm like, don't worry, you'll get used to it, because that's all I ever wore. From the moment I turned 12 all the way until I was freaking 20. All I wore was baggy clothes. That was it. I never crisscrossed. I never put them backwards, but I wore baggy clothes. Had the long hair undercut. Ruben had the bangs. Everything was shaved but the front bangs, and you flip it back. We were talking nostalgic after the graduation. We went out to go eat. Xavier chose, he wanted to go eat, you know, like the not the traditional Hawaiian, but like just, you know, the basic Hawaiian barbecue.
Hawaiian barbecue, yeah.
Mostly Asian inspired barbecue stuff. So we went there because he wanted the island fish plate, which, you know, came with, you know, like one. It's not even. I wouldn't even call it island fish because I wouldn't consider cod as an island fish.
Girl.
But that's the type of fish they had.
Ahi.
Yeah, but they didn't have that. But I mean, they had cots, but he likes that because he likes fish and shrimp. So
Okay.
we went there to go eat, and me and Ruben was just talking about nostalgic stuff, and he was like, he was talking about the days when we used to break dance. That was the thing. So like schools would battle and stuff like that, and we all wore baggy clothes. And then Ruben's like, my brother Bobby's hair was kind of like that, but it was undercut, but it was that long, back in the day. Like mine's, I had bangs. And I'm like, yeah, you had bangs that you always had to keep flipping back because if you started walking and the wind blew, your bangs would start to fall to the side and you have to like flip it back. It's like, just fucking undercut your hair. Like, why'd you have to go all bald and leave your bangs only? It never made sense to me why it was like that. But, kids, yeah. Today's hairstyles is more weird.
You know what? They're trying to reinvent it, and it's kind of like when bell bottoms came back in the late 90s. And I say came back.
You mean when you wore them?
For all you 90s kids, millennials that thought that you guys came up with bell bottoms, no, you didn't. It was in the 70s too. But
I remember your bell bottoms with clogs. Your fucking big ass platform shoes. That shit. If you have an older sister and they bring back clogs, this is to the younger generation, but if you have an older sister and they bring back clogs, don't piss her off. And if you do, make sure you can outrun her because those things hurt if she A, throws them, or B, drop kicks you with them. Fucking big ass things.
And they're wood too. They were made of wood back in the time. They were heavy fucking wood. So
sturdy wood. They didn't break when they hit somebody.
But I don't know what kind of thing or how they would make it today. They probably make it with hard plastic or some shit. I don't know. But back then it was wood. So
polycarbonate clogs.
So right now it's 30 years later from the 90s, and they're doing the bell bottom thing again because my daughter has bell bottoms. I am wearing some bell bottoms right now actually, but they're not they're of this material, like real cotton, and they're kind of different. I mean, they have a slight difference than what they were in the 90s, and definitely a slight difference than the 70s, because 70s it was all about, I think it was polyester that they were using.
I think so.
And then, in the 90s, they had jeans that were, bell bottomed and other types of rayon. No, maybe the 70s was more rayon. I'm not a fashion designer. I just know the fabrics were kind of different, The cut was the same, the pattern was the same, but they were using different fabrics, so go figure. Crop tops are back too because they had crop tops in the 90s. But, nowadays they like to do crop tops with skinny jeans, or, now they're doing crop tops with bell bottoms because bell bottoms came back. But back in our day was crop tops with baggy jeans. Because if you were going to wear something tight up top, you wore something loose on the bottom.
Yeah.
And if you wore something tight on the bottom, you wore more loose things on the top. But now everything seems to be more body contouring. Like the outfit I'm wearing right now is body contouring, and this is, latest fashion. I'm a trendy person. I like trends.
I can't get there yet. I still got a little bit of my gut to lose. I have slimmed down from the last time you saw me, so I'm buying my shirts in smaller sizes.
Nice.
So when I'm at home, I wear my baggy clothes just to be relaxed when I'm watching movies. But when I go out, I wear more fit. Oh, you can see the shirt that I was wearing to the graduation. My belly.
Oh yeah, that was nice. You look nice.
It doesn't stick out like it used to. I'm losing my weight along with my wife.
Well, shit. I'm losing weight, and right now, actually, tomorrow I'm starting to go to a gym. I'm gonna start going to a gym. I need to get out of the house for a little while, and I gotta kind of get into a place where, where there's people doing the same thing as me. So working out.
I do that too. It's called Pokemon Go.
Yeah. See, I can't do it that way. I kind of I gotta do it differently, I guess. So
no, I'm not saying for you, dude. I'm just saying that's what I do. I play Pokemon Go.
And that's what's contributing to it, which is good. But you know what? I've changed my eating habits too. I still do my liquid diet first week of the month, which is coming up again. Coming soon. So I eat differently, but I don't do this because I want to have a killer rock hard body or anything like that. I do it because I want to put my diabetes in remission. That's my whole goal.
Yep. I think that's like one of the things that's like very scary about it. Just how do I put it? The things that mom went through are at the back of my head. Like, am I gonna hit that point? Like, am I gonna hit a point where I end up, getting a stroke that like pretty much puts me down?
Between you and me, I think you have it harder than I do. I've never gone through what do they call that? Where like shit. There's a medical term for it, but it's not neuropathy. I guess, yeah, neuropathy. I've never lost feelings in my toes or anything. I can still feel like. So one of the concerns for diabetics is if we wind up stepping on shit and cutting ourselves and not knowing that we cut ourselves and getting infection, sepsis and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I have feeling and sensation still yet on my appendages. So, and I've never had Bell's palsy. Yeah. I've never I don't really suffer through a lot of different ailments as a result of diabetes. But you know what? I'm not a doctor, and shit could happen. Maybe I'm just lucky at the moment. I don't know,
Yeah. By the way, everybody, Sneed scheduled a live stream. I believe it's in 30 minutes. Giving you guys a heads up though, so that way in 30 minutes, you guys check out his live stream. I got a notification.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I've got to let you go anyways because I'm on 10%, so I got to charge my phone.
Yeah, go for it.
So nice talking to you here.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to have you on here because it's a different perspective. Because I wanted people to see that. That was the ultimate thing, was wanting, like, I know this wasn't planned to have you on here, but when you were like, I want to come on and say some things, I'm like, oh my God, I can finally switch it to what I wanted to do, which was have somebody that's not a tech person give their thoughts. Some people in my community may not agree with you, but that's okay.
No, and that's fine. You see, the wonderful thing about, this country, even though there's a lot of aspects that are wrong with it, yes, granted, but we're all allowed to have a point of view,
Yeah.
And I respect everybody's point of view. I may not agree with it, and I may not do what you tell me to do, but I will respect that, and I will respect you as a person. So that's at the end of the day, and that's what makes this country good, if we can stay on that foundation where we can respect each other's point of views, agree to disagree, walk away, and we still friends. Let's go get ice cream after, that kind of thing. I relish in that, and that's kind of like the messages I like to share. It doesn't matter, it's like the Michael Jackson song. It don't matter if you're black or white, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're green bubble, blue bubble, I think, we shouldn't judge people by superficial things as such. You know what I mean? I don't like to judge by stuff like that. Accessories, a cell phone is just an accessory. Would I judge somebody on the belt they wear, on the shoes they wear, on the color of clothes they wear? No. So why do I give a shit about a belt? So I guess that's my message for the day. But thanks for watching. I totally appreciate it. I will join you some more on your tech. It's fun, actually. Yeah. I have a good time.
Yeah, I go all over the place. I think one of the biggest takeaways that I will take away from this, really honestly, and this is like one of my own bad habits that I just recognized about myself today. So even, like you do a little bit of like self-discovery. So I noticed that, when certain things come out, like certain news, I really should give myself a couple of days, because I make a video and I'm talking with my emotions. Right, and then afterwards, when I'm thinking about things and I'm thinking about the differences, which is what I always push here, is that for people to be different, you don't have to be identically in the same mindset.
Right.
And then I'm like, wait, well, you know what? Like, for instance, like the Metro thing, like I was mad when Metro did what they did. I was mad. I'm not mad at them anymore because technically I do have the freedom to go wherever I want to go. And I don't have to change my plan to what they're offering. I can stay on my legacy plan for as long as they'll let me stay on it.
Right.
So yeah, it's just like, it's not even that serious to me. I get other people will take it serious and get mad. it is what it is. Just find something out there that's very similar to what you already have if you really don't want to stay. But you can't force a company to do exactly what you want it to do unless it's something that's breaking the law. Then, of course, people can band together.
Right.
And,
Right, of course.
yeah.
Of course.
It's just, I'm not going to jump in on my thoughts until I've calmed down. That way I can give the best explanations. Because sometimes I make my videos off emotions and you'll hear me be mad about something. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm revisiting the same subject and I'm more mellow. And then my thoughts change. And it's like,
You
I
know
don't
what?
want to.
But actually, don't knock yourself for doing either or both, because that's called growth. And we as human beings, sentient beings, thinking beings, we evolve all the time. Yesterday we were so staunch against something, and today we're highly accepting to it because we understand now. That's what knowledge and growth does. Don't be afraid to grow, even on camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this past Tuesday I probably said some shit that people don't agree with, and I will probably look at it a month from now and I probably won't agree with it. As a matter of fact, I told myself shut up many times when I was rewatching that live stream. Yes, I do rewatch it, and yes, I do realize I say stupid shit. I get it, because I'm doing shit off of emotion when you guys are seeing it, and then I don't think about it till later until I replay it and I'm like, oh my God, what the heck did I just say? I sounded real stupid. So there are things I said in that last Tuesday video that sounded real stupid, and I will probably clear the air some other time when I've had more time to process, think about it. But we are growing, and I'm not ashamed of that, and neither should you.
Gotcha. Well, I will invite you back on the tech side of things on another time. I do these at least once a week also. So,
That'd be fun.
I'm gonna go make dinner for the kiddos. My wife's got to stay all the way until closing. So
right. Yeah, take care of them, and everybody, don't forget 30 minutes. Sneed's coming on.
Yep.
Man,
yep.
Sneed. Alrighty then.